Hello everyone, and welcome back to the DPC SCA Qualifiers. We're about to kick off round number 3. More accurately, the round's already kicked off. And, well, we're here with two casters, myself, your SeekNStrike Dota, and Mr. Avo Plus, going to be bringing you the action for today's matches. Hello, Avo. How's it going, man? Long time no see. I didn't know you had a TV in that room.
A TV in this room?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know either. I've never used this before. When we first got this apartment, they sold me. They're like, each room has a TV, and I go, why? What kind of boomer selling take is this? But I thought I would put something on that TV, and I've been too lazy to install anything. There is a...
Dire's top tower
I used to have this, actually.
Uh-huh.
Is my plushie. It's my Sand King plushie.
Ah, that's a really
Isn't
nice
this cool?
plushie. That is
It's a very
really
nice
cool.
plushie. It's from the Animator. I wasted an insane amount of money on this, but I don't care. I do not regret a
It's
single
really
bit.
nice. No, I wouldn't.
It's very
regret
nice
it.
plushie.
That's a nice plushie because I got like a little Undying. Actually, he hangs on my microphone. Remember this from the Rumbles Collide set? Oh, you can't see my webcam. But it's a little Undying guy. That's a really cool one. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
do
funny.
remember Undying.
I've been to your flat many times, and I've never noticed a TV there. You should definitely put some stuff on there. That'd be funny. In any case,
I have never let you come in.
Let's put the Dota game on. I mean, this game's already running. You can hear it in the background. It's already popping off. We tried to watch the Atomic Esports versus No Rig match. Unfortunately, we couldn't get into that lobby. And now we are watching, what's this, Hope versus Kobolds, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, we were really excited about that match. I know both of us were talking about it in the off time, but you know, sometimes lobbies are a little bit bugged in the open qualifiers. It's normal. Usually, as less teams participate, it evens out. But Kobolds is one of the teams that I was looking forward to anyway. They're one of the... Lilgun would probably be the most known Mongolian stack, and Kobolds has been like the quote-unquote tier 2 Mongolian stack for a long time now. They, of course, not sponsored. It's again, just a stack. But they've been trying to make it into the scene for quite a while. And it does seem like Mongolia is starting to get a lot of players into Division 2 and Division 1 in general. A lot of like loose players are starting to join SCA teams, which is impressive because they play with a lot of ping usually. And it's pretty cool to see another country getting into Dota. So I hope that Kobolds can make it and represent their country as well in the Division 2.
Agreed. Like you're saying with Neon Esports, they already have, I think, 3 or 4 Mongolian players on that organization's roster right now.
I think 3.
I believe it's at least 3. I know it's a majority of the 5. I think what's absolutely accurate is you say they play with a little bit of ping, but just look at a map and you'll see really how far it is from the server cluster, which is going to be in Singapore. Like Southeast Asia is not that small, to be honest, but China's very large, and you're going all the way across China to connect and play some Dota.
We were looking at flights to do like some, film some content with content creators and stuff like that, right? And for all the Southeast Asian countries, and of course Mongolia was part of the consideration. And every other flight was like $100 maybe, and then from Malaysia, which is where we live. And then you go to Mongolia, and it's like 600.
Yeah.
It's like flying back to Europe. It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
real. That's a real big country. In fact, so much so that when we were casting Eastern European Dota, the very first DPC season we had Hustla, who used to play in Reality Rift, great position 4 player. He would play on a.
And then he played in Neon.
Yeah, he actually stood in for a couple of Eastern European teams. Like that's how big the ping. That's how far they are from C. Really, it's like it's playable in both regions.
Yes, it is crazy. It is crazy. I think the western or the countries that are in the west-south of Mongolia, like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan stuff, are more suited for EU.
True.
I think they have better ping and they can play in C. But Mongolia is literally in the middle. It kind of depends as well because the country is so big on where you reside in the country. But regardless, Kobold is one of those stacks that have been kind of a mainstay of this tier 3, tier 2 Dota. They play in a lot of the BTS Pro Series, at least they try to qualify. In many cases, they've had some okay results. They usually play in open qualifiers. And it's a stack that I think holds a lot of promise. So we'll see if they can make it through. I do not have much information on their opponents, however.
Neither do I, and honestly, I have not gotten a chance to cast Hope in the previous 4 days of qualifiers that we've had. I can say that Kobolds were 1 match away from making it to closed qualifiers. In fact, just yesterday on this very channel, you might have seen their match versus Neon Esports. They did lose that one 2-0, unfortunately. This is a good start for Hope. A good Fiend's Grip, though, out from the Bane, and even better Snowball to interrupt, though. I think this is still going to be, just too good of a fight for Kobolds. They hold this cliff very nicely. Good positioning from the Bane. And even with a good Snowball, they can't really make that Snow Gank work.
Yeah. However, an interesting pathing by the Dawnbreaker leads her right into the middle of the enemy fray, and she dies as her teammates come to save her. They get the kill on the Mirana as well. Now the Nightmare to set up for another one, but that is quickly dispelled due to the Nightmare shenanigans. Oh, never mind. Drow's just gonna let Night Stalker die. You take the Nightmare, sir. Thank you for tanking it. Great off-laner. That was interesting. There was a little bit of the save your buddy syndrome from almost everyone at Hope, except for the Drow Ranger, who played like a real carry and decided to just let his teammate die.
Oh, and they're not even giving this one up. They're going for more. Multi-shot into the snowball. That'll be a kill. Multi-shot stolen. Smacks. Not going to do too much here in the hands of the Rubik, but maybe useful for a little bit of damage from range.
Yeah, the slow can sometimes be useful, right? Because it does take your current level of frost arrows, but it is one of the worst spells. The good thing about Rubik versus Drow is that you can steal Gust pretty easily, right? And that's a really good spell to steal. But the bad thing is that if you get multi-shot, you're sad.
It doesn't look like he frost arrowed there, actually. They look like regular arrows.
Oh, interesting.
I also would have assumed, by the way, I would assume you were correct there. But it would appear that it didn't work. They were just regular arrows. And the damage didn't look that high, but I can't tell if that's because Rubik's damage sucks. That was a very good Starbreaker combo. Very nice.
Yep.
A bit ambitious for Hope to try and siege like that. And with their tier 1 tower very low and a regen rune in the river, I think this is going to be Kobold's tier 1 tower for sure.
Yeah, Scotty's going for an interesting build on the Dawn as well, going for a straight Orchid actually on this hero. I know that Orchid's been a popular item on these tanky kind of initiators. Like Kunkka used to play a lot of Orchid, and we're seeing many more offlaners going for the Orchid build. But since Dawnbreaker's popularity with both BKB and Desolator, it's interesting to see them go for this full-on catch to kind of probably make up for the Bloodseeker, which it doesn't really carry that much catch, right?
Yeah, same could be said of the Morph. Yeah, I was about to say, because even like this game, I don't know. I look at the enemy team and I don't see like a fantastic Morph Ag Scepter that I like want to really rush. That's going to really help my control issues, or it's going to help enable my Morphling to just like play, Ooga Booga Dota, like a Lifestealer, right? He just rages and then runs in, something like that.
Yes.
Night Stalker, very good shards. Again, very speedy this man though. Maybe they can.
He's almost gone away. That was an interesting choice, right? Take advantage of his passive. That was a good idea. But unfortunately, Night Stalker is quite quick, and that crippling fear can be really, really annoying. It's also the reason why I think they're itemizing into these other catch on their cores, because usually Rubik and Bane can cover catch easily, but with Night Stalker interrupting Fiend's Grip super easily and also harassing Rubik, really, it's going to be very difficult to execute that in the team fights.
Yeah. I like the Orchid. I think if you went for really any other kind of item builder now on the Dawnbreaker, you'd be a little bit too passive, or you would be way too greedy. I mean, you've got a Morphling and a Bloodseeker. These guys are going to be, kind of vacuuming up their farm. And speaking of the Bloodseeker, I actually wanted to ask you, where do you think he stands in the current meta right now? We haven't really seen a whole lot of this hero, I feel.
I don't think he's incredible. I think the problem that Bloodseeker suffered from is that even later last meta, he was actually kind of viable as an offlaner or a support. And you saw some teams still flexing it, right? You actually saw, what was it, SMG on Raji? They would flex it on the support sometimes. And you saw it offlaner on Amar, for example. So that flex was possible. I think nowadays that flex feels really bad, personally. So that's why I think the heroes lost a lot in competitive. As they go for another fight here, Dawnbreaker, fantastic ultimate, and keeping their support alive as a result. Meanwhile, Rubik is actually able to get away, still the crippling fear, kind of useless, but it doesn't really matter. The whole point of this was just to stop the initiation from Hope, and they hopefully did it.
Yep. And this is a really dangerous fight, I want to say, for Kobolds to take. During this Dark Ascension, the vision advantage that right now this team has on their own high ground, yeah.
Bloodseeker, though.
It's going to cost them a couple of heroes.
That Bloodseeker got blown up as they concentrated the Drow instead. They finally kill a Drow with a small mini shotgun there, as Rubik has somehow lasted the very end of this fight. Finally goes down.
I don't think they can kill this Morph, though. He's just way too strong. He's got way too many stats.
Yes, they need a Drow for that. That's why they had to kill the Drow so early. Walrus Punch doesn't really do much. Nice evasion with the Snowball. And with a little toy, can he get away? That's a much better target. Really good job here from the supports on Kobolds.
That was excellent priority there. Good job from the Bane rejoining the fight. He TPs to the tier 1 tower, and it's far enough where like you kind of forget that the Bane is going to be back in the fight relatively quickly. You're more or less banking on this side of the map that your heroes are going to be there to reinforce a bit faster. But when Tusk immediately starts getting his ass beat, like it's time to get out of there, man. That was a little too dangerous for Ember.
It does feel like... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Very good force staff out. Very good.
That was a very, very good force staff. Tusk is dead, though, but at least the Drow is fine. They start to attack the Morphling, but he has Manta style to get rid of the Gust. I would say that it does seem like Kobolds, they're doing the typical SCA thing, of course, of like constantly fighting, forcing these engagements. But Hope, while they're doing the same thing, it seems less measured somehow. Yeah. Feels like they're just going into whatever fight they can find. And their fighting win condition is much harder, because they have to make sure that Drow stays safe from the Morphling, and they need the Drow to kill the Morphling. Otherwise, like you said, he's kind of unkillable. So they maybe need to take a chill pill.
Yeah, this Drow versus Morphling matchup is really interesting, right? Because even like an item behind, Drow with her passive can kind of just like start to 3-shot Morphling at almost any stage of the game. It's just a matter of, as you say, making that space for Drow such that the Dawnbreaker or the Bloodseeker or even the Morphling himself's not breaking her passive and getting in her face. So that's really the name of the game right now for Kobolds. Just keeping this Drow out of the fight or getting in her face and killing her off. Very good target, though, off of this just Moonlight Shadow. No smoke play here.
Easy kill on the Dawnbreaker. Morphling Cuz like, hey, I'm free. I could just kill anything. Oh, no. I'm a carry. I can't bring dust.
I don't have dust. What's that?
I took a creep instead. You think he'll buy dust with that creep skull? No.
Nope. He's got to keep this fairy fire. It's giving him 2 damage.
Super with the attack speed, Rich. You just don't understand, the complexity of this hero.
It's a whole extra maybe 1% DPS increase, You never know. Dota's a game of small values.
They have to find the Ember right now, but again, Bloodseeker, we're going to see how weak he is at starting anything. He can rupture the Ember, that's not really going to do much. They need the Rubik to do so, but Ember caught wind of this, and he gets away in time.
What did they rupture? A creep? Can you rupture creeps?
Oh, I did not. Oh, I was not expecting
Yeah,
it.
he definitely... Oh, that's right, yeah. No, he ruptured a creep there. It's okay. I'm not sure if Ember heard it, to be honest, but they did smoke immediately, so perhaps they did.
Okay. Another counter initiation from the Dawnbreaker, taking advantage of this, actually. And there's the shard from Dawnbreaker coming into play, killing off the Tusk, but nice Dark, like you said, catches a kill on the back lines. And they made a buyback as well, as the Bloodseeker with the BKB chases down the Mirana. Dawnbreaker's forced to die, and Morph now cannot help the fight, but he will still get 2 kills from that cliff. Now they're going for supports. Ember trying to finish off the Bane. They will catch him. We don't have a telekinesis on Rubik. Finally away from a Morphling, but he can't get to the second cliff. And this poor man has been beat by the high ground twice already. He gives up, goes back to farm.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got beat by the high ground there, but that was not a feel-good fight for Hope. That was the BKB reveal on the Night Stalker. They had a pretty good initiation and a ward on the cliff, so it felt like it was a pretty decent start for them. But Morphling, he's already at this stage of the game with his damage that he can just stand and deliver, and he tore right through that Night Stalker. Night Stalker ideally wanted to get that second kill on the Bane to make the fight a lot easier, and he just had to back away.
Tusk is most likely going to... Oh, okay, never mind.
Maybe he thought there were more heroes coming.
Yeah, he didn't have control of the high ground. Although I see a ward there. My map is a little bit blurry, but I think there's a ward nearby.
Yeah, there's a ward here outside the base.
Okay.
And,
yeah, you can argue that maybe they went the other way. Yeah. Maybe you can argue they went the other way. At least the Rubik gets him. Nice Walrus Punch. We hit telekinesis, but he has no damage. I don't think he took the talent. And he's actually getting Walrus Punch before he dies. Yeah, he gets the Fateful kill. Good job. Good job. That's what he came here for. He accomplished his goal. He gets tipped, but I don't think that tip is as offensive as you think it is. He forced 4 people to rotate on a Rubik, and he got the kill anyway.
Yeah, I do love the ranged Walrus Punch. Very, very funny. But of course, it's a Rubik, so the damage is very underwhelming, even with that crit.
Yes.
But a 1-for-1 trade. Crippling Fear not out in time, and a decent punish there, especially after evading death at the hands of the Morphling.
I do love as well that the... They're keeping that SEA spirit alive with the offensive tippings, even in the first round of the qualifiers.
Best of ones. Yeah, and just to, actually, now that we mention it, right, if you guys want to check out what the other matchups are, go ahead and type !bracket in chat. You get links to the bracket on epolls.com. We started it in the round of 32. We only had about 30 teams, I believe, sign up for this round. We did start eventually with 35, but with 2 teams qualifying each time. We are slowly whittling that down. So we actually only have 2 rounds of best of ones that we play today before we break and come back tomorrow with the best of 3s.
Yep. I know when people see this, they're like, well, it's only 35 teams in SCA. That's kind of a low number. But I will point out that when you look at these OQs, all these teams seem professional to some degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I guess there's some that are closer to stacks or whatever, but we don't have the 2K teams that are just trying for fun or the 5K stacks anymore. Like, you have a bunch of... You can call them somewhere between org and stack, right? Where I don't think the players have salary, but they probably have like a boot camp or some sort of helping hand, right? And then you have a bunch of these smaller stacks that are kind of well known with like 1 or 2 well-known players. Yep. So it's a decently stacked up in qualifiers, even in the first round. I don't think there are any particular freebies.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I haven't gotten the chance to kind of look over every single team, but taking a look at the bracket now as we are still paused in game, like Team Dow Alpha and Demoka have both, I think, made it to the final day already. So even in that first round, that's a pretty tough matchup. Atomic Esports and Nerdrig, pardon me, the matchup we were trying to watch, is a very, very good match. YG have yet to not make it to the final day, and they're a pretty notable org as well, as we are unpaused and back in game now. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good bracket. This is I've cast a lot of open qualifiers over the years, and I have to agree with you. Every single time you hold on, Ember's just dead actually.
Good feed script. Arrow too late. I mean, not really their fault. Narn wasn't in position there, but they still had an issue with at the Ember. Crippling Fear, BKB as well, and that was
They ruptured
a very hopeful initiation. Immediate TP by the Night Stalker. At least he won't die here, but this might set up for a push. Tier 2 mid, though, is a little bit of a dangerous push. They could try to push out bottom. Dawnbreaker still has their ultimate available.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, even when you start looking at their ranks, you know, like, as DK Truman really likes to do, like, right now, this Radiant Hope side, there's the lowest rank probably, yeah. They're, like, all immortal top 500s except for the Morana, who's just immortal. So, like, that's a very impressive metric already. Good snowball here, and that's a kill onto the Dawnbreaker. Slightly overextending, was probably looking for a fight to join and an ulti in, which is why she's farming out so isolated. Good usage there of the catch from Hope. No BKB here on Night Stalker. That means he is very likely dead. Yep, as soon as the Morphling targets him, almost got him to the cover of the Moonlight Shadow in time, but no chance there. They do get the silence here onto the Morphling. Look at a TP way, arrow in time, and the Sharpshooter, sorry, the marksmanship procs off from the Drow Ranger means that that's a major turn here for Hope.
Yeah, pretty huge dive. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? The tier 2 mid, being the first tier 2 you take is just very dangerous. It's the most dangerous tier 2 by far, even more so than the offlane nowadays because there's easier ways to control the enemy triangle. And I was surprised they did that. If you look at down bottom, you can see the creeps are already at the tier 2 there. If they take that one, it's much harder to initiate. You have much more control in the trees, and you could have taken the outpost anyway, which is the goal, right? And by this dive, you ended up losing a pretty sizable advantage, I think. Now Hope is not in that bad a position. Even though Morphling has Aghanims, and now as Morphling Aghanims does, as soon as you morph into the enemy edge carry, they're neutered for the whole team fight. Yeah. It's a tough one with Drow, because you still have multi-shot to mitigate the lack of attack speed, and you also have a really good match against Morphling.
Oh, really good.
And a dead Bane, maybe?
Yeah, they'll get him up on the high ground. Maybe they're
gonna
lose.
Get Walrus Punch.
Nope, not in time.
Both supports are dead though. Rubik gone as well, as the Bloodseeker just runs in with BKB. Drow can't run away because of a rupture, and he's just going to get 2 kills as they chase after the Ember. The Orchid, however, has already been used, and Ember's capable of surviving. He still has the Aegis regardless.
June has Basher, though. This could be trouble.
Oh, what a nice evasion of the final hit with a sleight of fist. They still get him with a hammer, but an arrow stops them right in their tracks. They at least got the Aegis, but now Bloodseeker's in trouble himself. He's going to try to TP. Here's the healing from the Dawnbreaker. Will that be sufficient? It will! Just barely getting away on that quick TP. And once again, it will be the offlaner who sacrificed themselves so their carry can live. Perhaps not even sacrificing themselves. No, that's too hopeful. Yeah. He's definitely going to die.
Yeah, he's dead. That was a really good usage of the ulti, though. Good usage of first BKB, I want to say, by June to make sure he can just get right on top of the Drow Ranger, who does not have Aegis at that stage, and get the kill. Furthermore, advancing to get the kill and removing Aegis advantage from Ember Spirit certainly does kind of soften the blow that you just took of losing your Morphling underneath tier 2. That being said, that's still a pretty big problem. Hope, you know, maybe a little bit rekindled here, if you would excuse the pun. But they're going to be...
What? Oh, Hope, right.
Yeah, rekindled Hope. Yeah,
I always think of candles.
That's true. That's true.
Or like a fire because of kindling, right? You're making a bonfire.
Whenever I think of kindling, I think of the RuneScape Grand Exchange.
I don't know what those words mean.
At the GE,
sorry. Just
lighting lines of fire. But Cabol's looking to keep up the pressure. They likely have another kill on the Tusk incoming, and it seems that way. I wanted to talk a little bit about this Morphling Acceptor and overall about the identity of Morphling as this hero now. Because before with old
so
Morphling,
strong.
It did feel like he had this identity, a very clear identity of anti-agi carry with, you know, Butterfly E-Blade Shotgun. Where do you think he stands now? Do you think he has his new identity kind of formed? Really? You still think he's the best anti-agi?
Yeah, but it's for different reasons, right? I think before, the anti-agi carry was, I burst you with Shotgun. That's pretty obvious, right? And the thing about morphing that was always good against agi carries was that because as you morph, yes, you lose strength, but you gain armor. Agi carries tend to only deal physical damage for the most part, right? So, like, if you look at physical carries, like, say a CK, for example, or even a Wraith King, traditionally you either have some sort of crits, or you have Radiance, or some sort of mixed damage item, and they're also very tanky, as they kill the Dawnbreaker top.
Yeah, really
I don't think agi carries had that.
That was a really good jump, by the way. Just like, well,
do they counter initiate? Oh, that was a nightmare. It's only the Bane though. The enemy team does not know it's only the Bane that TP'd though. They think the other TP also came through. There's Rubik coming in. Supports helping supports. Finally, one of the cores joins, but it's way too late.
He canceled the TP.
Yeah. Oh my god. They just left these 4 guys to die. Oof. That is very unfortunate.
Yeah. That's not. I mean, It would suck more if you had Aegis on this Dire side, but you don't, so I guess you just respawn and then get back at it. They did commit quite heavily now for this with the Dark Ascension, and they did only get your 3, 4, 5. 4 to 5 for the tier 2 tower. Drow Ranger maybe wants to commit to this. Doesn't really want to have to tank it. Yeah, I think they're going to respawn a bit too soon. Maybe not, though.
They try. I think it's worth a try, even if they try to counter-initiate you right now, because even if you lose, say, Night Stalker here, I think Drow can still get away if he sacrifices himself, and this tier 2 is very valuable. It's a lot of map control. Well done. Yeah, so on the Morphling point, if you looked at the TI meta, right, I think that the most efficient, if you look at Tundra's side, right, because I think Tundra had their own special meta, which was very unique, but the rest of the teams, it was kind of obvious how OP ranged carries were at that moment, because Wraith Pact just made them unkillable, and so the traditional idea of, like, I jump the ranged carry, therefore he dies, was no longer really in effect, because I jump in, Wraith Pact saw it, he doesn't die, what? He has Satanic, what? You know, so Morphling changed that because he could just neuter them with the axe, and I think that's why he became the anti-range carry. Taking away that attack speed
What a
was
smoke
huge.
break. What a smoke break, by the way, by this Tusk.
No, that was incredible, actually.
He might even...
They realized someone's there and there, but even if he dies, it's still worth.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's still very worth.
Well played. Well played. I think that's his identity now. I think he's weaker against the really long range carries like a sniper because it's hard for him to close the gap.
Yeah.
But those mid ones like Medusa or Drow or Luna, right? He's perfect against them.
Yeah, in general, I still agree with your analysis there on the long range carries, but I do think now, especially with Dragonlance,
Long range Agi, mind you.
Yes, long range Agi, yes, being such a good build on this hero, I do feel like with the insane range you get on Waveform. On the 10 talent, like I do think it's maybe a little bit playable, especially considering you get this talent so early. But I agree. I think he's best against like a medium to short range carry, like a Gyro or something like that. Whatever. Yes, agreed.
I think that's a very. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And I actually think that's why he's one of the best carries right now, right?
For sure.
He's not only an anti-carry of a lot of the popular ones in the meta, or that were popular, but he's also just a very solid hero. He's also pretty good against Zoo with the Waveform attacks targets talent. He also has pretty decent damage in Waveform. Like, it's one of the highest magic damage spells that carries carry in general, right? So
very true.
You have a lot of late wave clear and stuff. I think, especially now with the nerf to Wraith Pact, he becomes even better.
Very good Syrian chains there, and even with the Orchid, Dawnbreaker is dead. That's a little bit of a problem for Kobolds. They really need to... I mean, this Ember's, popping off. All right, there it is. It's just, it feels like the teams are taking turns killing the Dawnbreaker and then killing the Tusk, basically. They're just kind of the trading.
Which is a win for Hope.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
But I do think this Ember's having way more impact than I expect him to. Playing Ember against Bloodseeker is not impossible, but it's hard. And then you also have Dawnbreaker who went for Orchid specifically to counter you. You have Telekinesis, which is an immediate, the only 0 cast point stun per se. And there's also the Fiend Script, which is a super long duration stun. And you're still doing really well. So congrats to him. I actually think his game is really, really good.
This is slightly risky now, sieging this tier 1 tower with Kobolds looking to close the door from behind, but a good map read out from Hope means they get out of here scot-free.
This Ember doesn't know the meaning of the word risk. He only has hope in his heart.
That's very true. Hope is the last thing you lose.
Is that a phrase in English too?
Yeah, heck yeah, of course. They,
in Spanish, we say faith is the last thing you lose.
General Leia said that at the very end of Rogue One.
That's another lots of words I don't understand.
Come on now.
I know Leia's the one that kissed her brother, right? That's the one.
Yeah, although technically George Lucas, I don't know if he had them in mind that they'd be siblings at that stage, but it is a little bit weird now that the
what
universe...
do you think producers were like, they have to be siblings, George? We tested it with the audiences, and Incest is really in right now.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It could have been. Oh, no, here it is. Look, we lose one hero, we kill another one on the other side.
It's always the same heroes, you're right. Fascinating.
It really is. Maybe Rubik dies this time. Good 4 steps to the low ground. I think he makes it out of here alive.
I don't know. Ember really wants him. He has Ags. Oh. Okay, sorry. We just lost vision for a second because of you. I thought the Ember just went away. No. Activates BKB just to kill this Rubik.
Yeah.
I guess, to be honest, Ember is not that reliant on BKBs. Neither the length nor even like when it's on cooldown, this game is not that valuable if Rubik is dead, right? Because Rubik and Dawnbreaker are the reason you bought BKB. It doesn't help against Moor, for Bane, or Bloodseeker.
That's, honestly, that's a very good point, and perhaps it is going to completely annul the joke I'm going to make. But I do like feel for Ember. It's not so much about the duration of the BKB, the length of the BKB, and more about how you use it, to be honest. Because I think as an Ember, you can really do a lot of damage, even with a 6-second BKB charge, honestly.
Oh, just like hitting, right?
Yeah, just hitting or just using it to engage, and then, you know, the magic immunity to get out and give your team the vision, right?
Morphin really wants Tusk again. Really wants Tusk. And then they broke his line as a result. Nice searing chains as well. Sets up for the arrows. They're killing the supports in the backlines. Here comes the Dawnbreaker finally. But at least the Bane is dead. As a result, they're trying to finish off the Bloodseeker. They can't because of the healing. Now Dawnbreaker is the real tank, and they bring down the enemy carry. Goodbye to Drow. They go for Ember next. They caught him with telekinesis. He wishes he had BKB right now, but he's still able to get away as Tusk acts as the diversion.
Dude.
Well done there, honestly, Hope. They made the best out of a bad situation, but much better played here from Kobolds.
Very true. Yeah, Dawnbreaker, you know, and that's the problem I think that Hope are kind of having, right? You said something earlier, like they're not really quite measuring these team fights super correctly, and I've got to agree with you here. Like, that is a good, against almost any other offlaner in the game, except for maybe an Underlord, that's a good fight to take. Because the offlaner's got to TP back to the tier 2 tower, that'll take like maybe 5-6 seconds because multiple heroes TP'd back in there, and then they've got to close the gap and actually get back in the fight. But this is a Dawnbreaker. She respawns and she's right there and then immediately in the face of the Drow Ranger. Like, I can't even really blame Hope's positioning of the Drow in that fight. Because against, again, most other offlaners, your positioning is not a concern, but as soon as as soon as Dawnbreaker closes the gap, you're in trouble, and then you're out of damage for the fight, and that releases Morph, and that's problems. That's a problem.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's why they're gunning on Drow so much. I mean, obviously, in lineups where there's Drow or Sniper, it tends to be the case to go for them first, right? That's an obvious thing. But in this game, like you said, killing Drow just completely enables the Morph and it makes this game free. So I guess that's why Nightstalker was going for more damage. I saw Hyperstone in his inventory earlier, so he might be trying to be a second source of damage as well, and that's a good idea. Hyperstone plus Basher would be a good way to control Morph, but it's not done yet, so he's still kind of weak. Tusk once again acts as a distraction. They can't let him go. Tusk needs to die today, and they will accomplish this.
I believe someone has a gem. Yes, Morphling has got the Gem of True Sight now he's carrying. Next into him is going to be the Eye of Scotty. Pardon me. That is going to further make his matchup slightly easier versus this Drow Ranger, right? You get her with one of those Scotty debuffs, and her moving around in the fight is going to become very problematic, especially after she uses her Hurricane Pike. So that is a very, very good pickup. She doesn't actually have any source of Dispel right now. Didn't decide to go for a BKB. No Man's Style for her. And I have to say, probably for the very similar reasons why you explained that Ember, you know, feels fairly liberal in using his BKB in this game so far. It's just not that good of an item versus Bane, honestly, or Bloodseeker even.
The only hero that you buy it against is Rubik, but if Rubik is the one that's catching your Drow, then you have other problems, right? Like it's not the BKB that you need. And like you said earlier, Morphling, that E-Blade shotgun build is no longer really in effect. I haven't really seen anyone build it, so it doesn't really matter. Morphling these days also builds Scotty very commonly, which is great against range carries, so he's definitely building it this game, and that makes the BKB even more useless.
Abyssal Blade reveal onto him, telekinesis, and he's dead in the duration of that stun. Very nicely executed by Kobolds, and maybe they're looking for the +1. Yep, indeed they are. Good catch here from the Bane, setting this one up nice and easy for his team. Basically on a dinner plate, that bat.
These Kobolds, where we talked about Ember playing really well, I mean, I don't think this discounts him at all, but I think the supports for Kobolds are actually playing a fantastic game, both Bane and the Rubik.
Agreed.
Yes, they might be engaging in too many fights, but as a support, you have much more liberty at doing that, but the teamfight execution, and especially the targeting, has been very on point.
This is major now. I think this is, Roche number 2. Would make the Bloodseeker's game a little bit easier. Allows them to go toe-to-toe much easier and get a couple kills. If they try and nuke through the Bane, they will get him. There's the buyback from the Ember. Roche is falling low. Ember going into the pit. He's a bit early, though. Abyssal Blade number 2. Oh, no. Arrow in time. Ember goes back in, but he's not going to be able to get his hands on the Aegis. And ruptured up. He will fall in the river. Drow Ranger getting force-staffed twice, leaping away. I think the Rangers are going to be able to escape, but no one else from Hope. That's a dieback on Ember Spirit, too. That was kind of an all-in play, I want to say, from Hope. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
So, you know, that's actually the thing that messes you up the most about playing Spirits, particularly Ember, because I think he's the best Spirit against it, against Rupture, right? Which is that when you play Spirits against instant stuns or silences, like you play against the Earthshaker or Rubik or Hexes, you immediately know, all right, I need to be wary of these spells because they can just insta-kill me, right? Rupture is weird to measure because you all of a sudden can't run in between. So it just kind of lowers your power level, but you're still very strong. It's not a counter to you whatsoever. And these plays, for example, are plays that if there was no Bloodseeker, he would have gotten away. But the Rupture screwed. and it's so difficult to measure just like a 10% less power. So that's what kind of screwed him over in that fight. I think it was not a bad proposition.
Really good here by the Night Stalker, actually. Yeah. Fantastic positioning using his passive vision, and Bane is going to die. I think Night Stalker should make it out of here pretty easily. Yeah, really good job. Hope, I mean, they're playing extremely aggressively, but I do really respect it. And just really good. I mean, this guy, he's a Night Stalker player. You can tell by the way he perfectly knew how much vision he had versus how much vision the enemies had.
When you play flying heroes, you play flying heroes. You can tell immediately, you know.
That was really
impressive. I think Night Stalker players and Dragon Knight players, the ones that buy the eggs every single game, they do some really weird shenanigans. You watch Saberlight's positioning on site Night Stalker, it is actually a thing of beauty. You learn so much.
I just wanted to point out, Dawnbreaker did have to use her 9-second BKB charge at the start of that engagement because she was getting caught out once again by the Drow Ranger. This tool, you know, basically just the Dispel does help her a lot here because she can extend the magic immunity with the Starbreaker combo. But that's on cooldown for a while, as I am going to once again see the Walrus get clubbed. That is his 16th death this game, Oliver. It's going for the Malk Award, 0, 16, and 17.
You know what they say, if you want to start your day well, you club a seal.
Yeah. Nice cup of coffee, seal pelt.
Club a seal. Or, sorry, a walrus.
Get the blubber. To power
Make
your
it
lamps. Yeah.
Power, yeah, your oil lamps.
Your
there,
oil
you go. There you go.
That's what you need.
Okay, that gust was that gust just fell short.
It did scare him. It did scare him, though.
It did scare him.
Did you see that? Did you see that ginormous post on the front page of Reddit from an Ember spammer that was very eloquently written? That was like all the Ember tricks and combos you can do. Did you see that?
Oh
one?
No.
Highly recommend it,
recent?
honestly. Yeah, it was pretty recent. It was in the last week, and it was genuinely like a good high effort piece of content. Very good. And one of my favorite pieces in it, I didn't understand half of it because I'm a really bad Ember player. One of my favorite pieces is just throw remnants in the middle of fights. Sometimes you can really do a lot of mental damage, which is very true.
That's a good point, actually.
There he goes.
Well, he is going to be doing mental damage, now physical damage as well, as they're going for the supports first. The Bane will be the first one to die. Rubik barely gets away with that Ghost Scepter. I think he's going to fall to the side of Fist. Abyssal, though, catches the Ember. They're really going to kill him. Nice snowball. Tusk is ready to die for his mid laner yet again, but can he actually save him? Oh, no. They caught him with a... I wasn't quite sure that would happen, but the Ember manages to get away just barely until they blink onto him. One last Remnant's ready there. They hit him with a little bit of residual damage. He's invisible, chasing after him. The Rubik as well, and there we go. Starbreaker will finish him off.
But they lost the Morph, Avo. Morph died.
They did, actually.
Everyone got pulled to try and fight the Ember Spirit. Rubik bought back and quite crucially turned into Ember to get the kill, but it allowed Drow Ranger to basically 2v1 with the Tusk and take down the Morphling. Scotty, it's only a matter of time before he drops, and this is a huge fight for Hope. I think they're also going to catch the Rubik here. Yes, indeed, final blink. That's almost a full wipe.
I also think that the Assault Crest we were talking earlier on pulling out a Night Stalker, that was a big impact, right, in this particular team fight. Not only did it become a much bigger threat, he could just destroy supports, which forced him to Ghost Scepter for the Night Stalker, right, not even for the Drow or the Ember, which is a big deal here. But on top of that, he protected this team from the Morphling, and that allowed them to survive just long enough, really, to be able to get that really important kill. I actually think this itemization was a big deal.
Yeah.
Night Stalker players, man.
Overall, I think the only thing well, okay, so I'll go with the glass half full analysis here in just a second, as they are going to go up to high ground. This is the problem. Who's got buybacks here for Dire?
Only Morphling.
And the Bloodseeker here as well.
Oh, right, sure. Right. Not really a hero. You see why he doesn't feel very strong right now?
That's a problem. Rupture, yeah, sure, silence me. I don't care. I'm a walrus.
He has blubber, right? Rupture, he can't lose blood if he has fat coverage, right?
Very true.
That's how blood works.
And surprisingly, first lane of Barracks is going to go here for Hope. They did lose their tier 3 down bottom, but perfectly defend the structures. And one thing I wanted to point out here, Avo, was the Kobold's support positioning. They were so eager to make plays, as they have been doing all match, that they were honestly just way too close together, and that can't be the case. They need to be ready to save each other, because Ember basically sets up for both of them to die. He jumps in first, gives vision, searing chains, and then all of a sudden the Night Stalker's in as well, silencing the both, and they can no longer do anything. I think this Rubik, he needs to get his shard. He needs to stand a little bit further back in these fights, ready to get someone out of range of the Night Stalker crippling fear. That's a really big problem. I think you can do a lot of damage to this Night Stalker if you just kind of yeet someone away with the telekinesis can target allies, and he wasn't ready. He wasn't in position. Doesn't have the shard. Oh, really good escape from Ember. I think he should make it out, no problems.
That's a fair point to be made, but I will also say that Rubik has been kind of the one in charge of catching the Ember every single time.
Sure.
So the fact that Rubik is both the one that has to catch, I mean, it's either that or the Abyssal, right? But the fact that he has such a strong responsibility, in addition to having to avoid probably the best support killer in the game, which is Night Stalker, right?
I agree.
It's a very tough job.
I agree. It's a tough job, but this is what separates the good teams from the great teams. Like, you need to kind of adjust your modes when you start sieging high ground. And here they go. Yep, they're going to be able to get another pick off here. The break, it's enough damage and a fantastic kill. Minza even pops BKB for that. You just need to adjust modes when you start doing different objectives, you know? Like, if I'm a damage dealing support, I'm probably not going to be in the Roche pit, right? I need to be when Roche is going on. I'm going to be on the outside, ready to counter initiate. But if I'm looking to gank someone, if I'm going to gank an Ember, I'm first in, right? Like, you do need to kind of adjust modes. I think this is something that Winter was talking about yesterday that I think is a really good point.
Yeah, sure, I can see that. I can see that. The Morphling is still going. Oh, he got caught by the Gust, actually. They could turn this. No, he immediately Manta style. They just want to run away.
Really good job there by Hope. They covered the Night Stalker retreat, and
No way.
Kurama, yeah, he's going to make it out as well.
He doubted too long, and that had to strike, huh? He didn't get the stun in time. It's a pretty slow projectile. Yeah, Hope is doing a really good job. They're actually really keeping it together. And Kobold's scrumbling a little bit. That Dawnbreaker, for example, going out of base, I think was a little bit odd.
Right.
I also want to point out that I love the Scotty pickup on the Drow Ranger. Many people ask, I think it's a question that I think a lot of people that are below certain are asking, myself included, which is why don't you just use a shard? It does the same thing as Scotty, but it's better, right? And it's cheaper. But the reality is Scotty pierces BKB. And that's the biggest reason why people just buy Scotty and Drow. It has the same effect, but it pierces BKB, which means you don't rely on them not having the BKB activated, which is already one of your issues, because Gust and Frost Tires also suffer against that, right? So Scotty covers that base, and that's why he actually got the kill against Dawnbreaker.
This Drow Ranger, by the way, fully online. Holy moly, has a DD rune. This is going to be a ton of damage. They're going to smoke up immediately. Roche respawning in a couple of seconds, but Drow Ranger's got the 25 talent, 50% chance, 52 actually, for marksmanship procs. They're waiting for the right initiation.
That is rough if you're Morphling.
Deleted.
Goodbye, Bloodseeker. Oh my god. Morphling's also in trouble. He got hit by the Gust. Manta style again. But the multi-shot is wrecking him. One more marksmanship proc and he's down. I think they also got a crit with that marksmanship proc. They destroyed the Dawnbreaker in a matter of seconds. Drow's online. Drow's online and Kobolds is offline.
I think they're offline. I think they're logging off, unfortunately. Oh no, that was basically the window. That fight didn't last any longer than the Windows XP shutdown noise. It really barely didn't.
That was incredible, honestly. What a team fight. Really well played by them. I think an underestimation by Kobolds as well, but this Drow Ranger is popping off,
Hope, their one problem is they've been kind of miscalculating fights in the early game, when it's kind of neck and neck in terms of net worth. But now that they're up ahead, oh boy, there's blood in the water.
Yeah.
Ember? Okay, almost got pushed into the fountain there. He's gonna die. He's got by, and he's got a remnant back.
Oh, pursuing chains. Okay, they can catch the Bloodseeker. Oh, Drow though is destroying the Morphling.
No chance. Just no chance there for Morphling to really do anything. BKB kind of kited out, and that'll be GG. Hope they're gonna move on through this round. I actually didn't think they'd be taking it, but a very nice recovery.
Mongolia is in shambles though. Between them and Lil Gun not even participating, we've lost the two Mongolian teams. It's time to sprinkle more players around in the DPC. I will say though that to your point, I don't know if Hope actually fixed that issue that we talked about earlier. It just seemed like their lineup became much easier to play as time went on, right? It did seem like they were still trying to fight whenever possible. But with Drow Ranger, the more items you get, and obviously the more mobility you get, and especially the more Night Stalker gets, so you can actually become a tank, it becomes easier. And then Kobold was the one that to measure their fights, but they also chose not to do that, right? They just kind of went in no matter what.
I'd agree. I think that was the point I was trying to make as well. Like, it just naturally becomes easier when you have more items. And, like, if you do catch, for example, if you just keep catching this Dawnbreaker, then, yeah, you're going to eventually, when you have the items, be able to burst her BKB or not on this Dawnbreaker. Tusk, unfortunately, does not qualify for the Malk Award. He did find a kill in the match. 117 and 26, though. Got real close. So I do have to commend him for that.
I love the 5 or mute all is his name. True SCA player, really.
Yeah, well, when you want to play support, you want to play support. Let's go ahead and quickly catch up here on the bracket now live on your screens. Damoka Farm did take the win over Team Dow Alpha. So they're done for the day, actually. They got a little bit lucky with their seeding and only had to play the one best of one. So they're back into the best of threes.
Nice.
Looks like also the Wallop team is on through as they beat Renewal.
The what, sorry?
Wallop. WOLEP.
Yes.
Wallop,
Yes.
right? I think?
Yeah. You're right.
Wallop. They're still waiting for their Dreamwalker versus Flux match. YG did move on, so they're into the next round. I guess it's a little bit easier if I do this. Hashtag Reaper did beat Nerdrig. Sorry, Hashtag Reaper beat Confirm Liao.
Okay. Yeah, and then they're up against Hope next. And like you said, Nerdrig did lose. Actually, Atomic Esports went through, and they're up against RZ, which is another one of the
That's a good match.
bigger names.
Yeah.
We also have Spawn, who made it through this time. Though Zen is actually also a smaller, I wouldn't say org, maybe stack, right? A glorified stack from Indonesia. Spawn, which is the Vietnamese organization, though I don't know if their players are from Vietnam currently. I don't think so, because they have Mang Daya. They will be making it through this time. I'm waiting for team looking for an org and crazy freaking kids.
Crazy freaking kids. I
Team looking for an org is a great name. Just true marketing right there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe if they win this match and the next match versus Spawn team, they'll get a little bit more eyes and hopefully maybe get an org as well if they do get into those close qualifiers. Best of luck to everyone, of course, all our participants. And still one more round, of course, guys. Don't forget, one more full reset happening. I think that's going to be, well, what's today, Ava? Today's Thursday? Is it already? Darn.
I think it's Thursday today.
So we are going to be, it is Thursday, my dude. We're going to be restarting again for our fourth and final round on Saturday, the 17th. So yeah, make sure you check that out. I'd like to actually try and get into this RZ Esports versus Atomic Esports match. That one's not going to start for... well, actually, the lobby just got created, so it's not going to start for another 15 minutes. I want to try and jump into an active match. Are there any matches running right now?
I cannot watch any games, so...
You know what? Can you try and watch just a random pub match right now?
I literally can't. It kicked me out too.
Go ahead and go to your Dota settings. This actually worked for me. And shout out to Mr. Smoke in Twitch chat who fixed this for me.
Thank you, Mr. Smoke.
Where is it? Let me just find it. It's under your network settings in Dota.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So go to options and then go to advanced options and then bottom left under network, toggle to low end network and then try again.
But I don't have a low-end network.
I know,
Richie.
I know.
Do you understand how much this hurts my pride as a gamer?
I understand.
I saw your rant on the stream, by the way. It got clipped. It was very fun.
What was my rant?
You know, guys, I'm telling you, I pay for a high-end network. Like, I don't know what's happening. I can't believe this is happening to me. And Truman's like, yeah, well, we're seeing the mid lane matchup right now. It's like, guys, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying my best, but
I was so upset.
I'll be honest with you. There are very few issues in life that angered me as much as my internet not working properly.
I've actually ran out of the cooking gas as well. I'm fine with that. I can cook with an oven and a rice cooker.
That's fine. That's not an issue. Internet's worse.
My internet.
Did you know there are two countries in the world that consider internet a human right, and if internet companies do not provide a certain minimum speed, it is considered a violation of human rights, and they can face really big fines.
Let me guess.
Yeah, guess.
South Korea.
Yes, that's one of them. Yeah, good job.
Okay, and the second one...
This one's a hard one.
Can I get a continent? Is it Europe?
Europe, yeah.
Which European... Is it Sweden?
No.
Shoot, that was a good guess, though.
We have a friend that used to live there.
We have a friend that used to live there. Is it Germany?
No. It's also a country from a very well-known Dota player. One of the OGs. Not the OG team, like OGs of Dota.
Romania?
No. You wanna know?
No. Yeah, I do want to know. Yes.
It's Estonia.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for Estonia. Yeah. I don't know very much about Estonia other than its geographic location.
They're a tech wonderland. Genuinely, they really are. Also, incredibly nice people. I've actually had very positive experiences with almost every single Estonian.
That's lovely.
The one that wasn't was Puppy, obviously, but everyone else.
Obviously. Well, that's because you asked him the wrong question. And then he
joking.
Well, really, honestly, it was Puppy that was nice. It was Masha that wasn't.
Yes, exactly. No, he was actually a king. He was actually one of the surprisingly nicest people. When he sees you comfortable, he'll screw you, and when he sees you that you're nervous, he will help you out, which is a very nice thing for him. So I like it. He keeps you on your toes no matter what.
He keeps you on your toes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get into it.
I try the low net and network. Let's see if this works.
Looks like Renewal versus Wolf may be ending soon. Team looking for Org versus Crazy Freaking Kids as well. These are both already well into the late game.
Crazy freaking kids, and they have an ARC warrant as well. Oh, this load network works.
Yeah, it's really weird, right? Okay, let's watch the Arc Warden game, Crazy Freaking Kids, shall we?
Oh, no, they're not found, so it's over.
Oh, it's over. Darn. Okay, well, spoilers. Thank you, Dota.
Also, did you see his name? But the recording guy is One Training or Mobile Legends. That's the most accurate SCA team. What do you want to bet this team is actually from Indonesia?
A good amount. A good amount. Could be Filipino as well. What is it? Looking for Crazy Freaking Kids, was it, right?
Yeah, it's crazy for
Let's
kids.
see.
Also, Team Looking Forward has I don't know if this is real, but
Philippines.
oh, it's Philippines. Okay, Team Looking Forward has an Archon player and 2 Ancients playing with 2 top 800 Immortals. There's no way, right?
I mean, maybe not. I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's one of those things where you're like, I don't know.
One of them does have Jisoo with a heart in the name, which I believe is a K-pop idol, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Do you know? Oh, actually, this is a great fun fact.
What?
There's a tier 1 player, right?
Okay.
Who's also named after a K-pop idol, apparently, or a singer, right? He's played in China, okay, and he was pretty big as well. He's a position 4 player, and he's back to Malaysia. He's Malaysian himself. Can you guess who it is?
Who is named after a K-pop idol? He's Malaysian.
Barely
and position 4 that's played in China. Is he?
Or a Korean singer? I don't know if you could consider him a K-pop idol.
And he's playing now.
Yeah, he's playing now in tier 1.
Is it Ali?
Sorry, not Korean. It's Taiwanese. Taiwanese. My bad.
Oh,
Taiwanese.
is it Ali?
No, it's Afu.
Ali's a good guess though. I mean, come on. No,
Ali was a good guess. Yes. That was my bad because I actually messed up the guy's nationality. I apologize. It's Taiwanese. I have never heard of Afu.
Okay, well there we go. I mean, you said Malaysian, so.
No, he's Malaysian. I mean, the singer is Taiwanese.
Oh, the singer. Okay.
Afu is Malaysian. Yeah.
Oh, I just got it.
He actually lived right next to Adam.
Really?
He's from Klang. Yeah. Yeah. I was asking Adam about some questions, to like learn about their history, and Adam gave me the exact address. I was like, Adam, I don't need this. I can't put this in a video. I'm not gonna dox Afu live on DPC.
Afu, you thief in the night. Good old.
Yeah. You thief. If you want to steal from Afu, by the way, this is his household. His mother still lives there. They usually leave on holidays from the 8th to the.
Oh my gosh. Adam, we don't need all this information. Oh goodness gracious.
Okay, I'm just keeping it to myself then. If you ever see a man like trying to sneak into the house, say nothing. Don't call. Don't call the police.
Don't call. Back to the bracket screen because it looks like we have finished all of the first round. With Crazy Freaking Kids taking the win, actually, team looking for Org. So they'll be facing off versus Spawn team. Hope and Hashtag Reaper is the match that we hope we can watch, or Atomic Esports and RZ Esports. All the other ones currently in progress or just about waiting to get started. Yeah, this one started 12 minutes ago. Yangon Galacticos started 12 minutes ago.
Yangon, right?
Yeah, Yangon. Sorry, thank you. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if am I crazy? Have I been pronounced? No, you're right. Yangon. No, sorry, that's my bad.
It's only the 1-0, so.
No, because it's from the city is Yangon. Of course, I'm an idiot. Sorry, I misread this for ages.
So yeah, we're gonna have to wait a little while. So that means
I would personally like these guys to actually make it through. I think it's really sad that. Well, I mean, I always love to have representation from a single country in C, right? And Myanmar has this big team, and it's very difficult currently to play in Myanmar. There's some infrastructure and other issues. So it'd be really nice to see if they can make it through. I know they've had as much support as possible from this org, but
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes life gets in the way.
Yeah, it would be cool. We got a good number of teams. Of course, Southeast Asia. It's not super unique because sometimes you see it in Eastern Europe as well as South America, where you have teams form out of individual nationalities. I think like in terms of like every now and then you get like a Kazakh stack to form.
Oh, right? Like mono national teams.
Yes. But SCA, I think that is also something you tend to see quite a bit. Is these mono national teams, as you say. Very good.
I have a working theory as to. Not working theory, but I've been working like recompiling data just in my free time because I think it's very fascinating about how the language you speak and some of the unique characteristics of that language guide some of the ways that you play. So for mononational teams, right, the difference between like a team that speaks to each other in say Indonesian, right, versus say Filipino or say Russian, and how this enables different styles of play just because of the strengths and weaknesses of each language.
Okay. What's the hypothesis? That's the hypothesis then.
So I have a hypothesis this forms play, and there is a couple of things that kind of like prove it, right?
Okay.
One of the things that was pretty obvious is Russian teams are probably known for the best team fighting, I would say.
Right.
Traditionally, they have really good coordination, very good team fighting, right? And Russian, on top of being one of the hardest languages in the world, it's also one of the most specific. It's one of the ones where, with the least amount of words, you can express the most amount of information, an accurate one and precise one, right? Yeah, because words in Russian have a lot of forms, so this allows you to be very, very precise with how you speak.
Okay,
right?
interesting.
Something that, yeah. So in English and Spanish, that's not the case, right? So I feel like in those teams there must be a really nice team fighting setting. However, for example, in Southeast Asian teams, particularly the Indonesian teams, I think they're one of the fastest at responding. Right, I think they're very quick at responding to aggression and like adapting to plays. And I also think because Indonesian is the opposite, even though it's not particularly precise, it is a very fast language to be able to speak and convey information quickly. Right. And because it's very contextual. So I always thought that partially because of that is the reason why they're so quick at responding to any enemy aggression.
That's
It's
interesting.
much faster than English.
Because I've heard from a friend who's trying to learn Finnish that, for example, Finnish has like 37 conjugations for every word or something like that.
Yes, those are called declinations. Or that's what they taught me, right? Yeah. German and Dutch also has it, but Russian has that. Yes, so not 37. But yes.
Yeah, I believe 30. It was 27 to 30. It was like a large amount in terms of like how you can modify a verb or a noun to give it more context, right?
Exactly. Like how English works or how Spanish or most Romance languages work, right? Is that the context of the word is based on where it is in the sentence, right? So like if I go, Richie likes to eat apples, right? I don't have to say anything special to apples. It's the object of the sentence because of where it is in the sentence, right? And you understand that as an English speaker that, okay, he has to eat something, so apples, okay, that's the object of the verb, easy, right? But in Russian, for example, you have to use the object form of that verb. So you would technically be able to omit, like you don't have to necessarily say as much information in complex sentences. You don't have to describe what's the object. Technically, you can just use the object form and use only one single verb and describe much more information, theoretically, right?
See.
That's not actually how you speak Russian, but you could, and I think in slang they do that much more. So.
All right, I'm sure like over text or over chat, that's probably as well how it's communicated, just to minimize keystrokes.
It's similar how in Malay or Bahasa they will, when they speak quickly, or Bahasa Indonesian, sorry, they will speak omitting the prefixes and suffixes of words, right, to speak faster.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah, actually, that does happen a lot.
Like if you learn the language, right, all the verbs and stuff like are formed with bear or mem, for example, and they always omit that, right? So instead of saying like I work, saying saya bekerja, you just go saya kerja, and people just guess with context, which as a learner is the hardest thing to learn ever. How do I know what you're saying? I have no clue, but people understand you because they're born in the same country as you, so it makes it easier for them. They've lived through that.
If you want to try and spectate a match of Dota that I just pulled into, I'm still at the lobby screen, but I think I did manage to at least be in the queue to watch this Atomic Esports match, so we can jump into the draft as soon as that starts. It should be less than 15 minutes, which is not the best. I'm going to go ahead and run a little Twitch ad, so apologies if you get it now, but it turns off pre-rolls for people that will be joining in the middle of the game. Do bear with us.
That's what we hate the most.
That's what
pre-rolls and
pre-rolls,
money.
Yes. Not the money. I hate money.
I do.
I want people to be able to watch the Dota.
That's true.
That's interesting. That's an interesting hypothesis.
I would really like to be able to do this as someone who's like with more knowledge of multiple languages, right?
Yeah.
Not just like coming from my perspective, because I can judge Spanish and English pretty clearly, but like I would like to be able to judge at least two more language groups, like one of the Slavic ones and one of the Polynesian ones.
I have to imagine this has kind of already been studied in terms of like
in sports.
Well, I was going to go with like a military doctrine angle in terms of how quickly can you communicate language in terms of like, hey, there's a guy over there, right? There's a guy in this building with this thing, right?
That's a good point. But I think in military, they come up with their own terms, right, to be more efficient.
That's true, but it's still within the own language. Obviously now with like with like different organizations and treaty alliances, there's like you go to one language, but I assume like within individual countries, especially in the past where you did have to communicate things extremely quickly over a crappy radio, right?
Yeah. I'd be curious about that. I wonder if there's, because you know how interpreters, when they do that, right, they actually come up with their own code as to how to write languages.
Yes.
For example. So I wonder if they do something like that, and that like deforms the language. I would like to see how it develops naturally rather than a forced thing, right? Like, because I don't think Russian teams do this on purpose. It just kind of happens naturally because of where they're born.
No, of course.
So,
And you can't, you can't, when you're in the middle of a team fight and a puck jumps you with BKB and misses a dream coil, and you need to communicate that very clearly that, hey, there is a, no, but you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of very specific information that changes the dynamic of the team fight and changes, lots of things about what you want to communicate. Hey, how quickly can you communicate that? How quickly can you get that out is going to naturally depend on the language. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think another topic that would highly interest you on this, Alvaro, while we're still completely off topic and, of course, waiting for our next draft to begin, ladies and gentlemen, is the Navajo code talkers that the U.S. Army employed.
Oh, yes, I've already studied that. Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating.
It is very
absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, very,
Navajo
very
is technically, though it's a little bit hard to say because a lot of the languages from Native Americans have kind of been erased and it's not really, we don't have enough knowledge on them. But Navajo is considered the hardest language to learn right now over Chinese and Russian.
Yes, I did.
Because of how difficult it is. Though studies prove that there's other languages of similar branches that are also equally as hard, right? But that's a whole other point.
Yeah. So
that said,
go ahead.
I was on the topic of language in Dota. I actually think it's very interesting to listen to Seb, particularly. He did this is very long ago, but he talked about an interview with Meltail as well, and he talked about how they would come up with terms to explain very complex Dota concepts in very few words.
So they did come up with a code essentially.
Yeah. So one of the terms they talked about was the cat and mouse, right? So they talked about, this is old, I don't know if this still applies, right? But back in the day, they thought that there was always someone in Dota that was quote unquote proposing and someone that was reacting, right? And so there was always the cat and the mouse. There was always a team that could make plays and the team that could react to the plays, right? The mouse had to react to the plays or avoid them, and the cat had to make those plays. But instead of saying like the reactive team or proactive team or whatever in these complex words, they just called it cat and mouse game, right? And that apparently agilized their comms a lot because it was a concept that was previously explained, so everyone had internalized it to a much larger and more complex degree, but at the same time, it was something they could quickly say in the middle of team fights, so they understood, right? Yeah. Which was very interesting. So they would go, "We are the cat, we are the mouse, we are the cat." Like,
yes, I would love to hear the OG comms. I don't know if this is all the way back when Fly was still on the team, with them saying, "No, we're a cat, we're a cat, we're a mouse. No, we're the mouse." But that does clearly communicate. Like you cut all the other. I don't want to call it BS, but you cut all the other.
You do. Clear comes. It's the karaoke joke.
I guess, right? I guess, but it's more so. It's not like it's BS in terms of things that don't need to be said. But like everyone's already at that level, operating on such a high understanding of Dota that you don't really need to explain. Oh, but this Wraith King is about to finish BKB and then he's going to hit this timing. Like when we do it as casters, it's so that we build a picture. But when players talk about these things, when they say this Wraith King is weak or this Wraith King is strong, that implies so many other things that they already know, and they cut many of those details, right?
That's true, actually. That's why those terms can't be used in pubs, because sometimes the idea of weak or strong is very different to different players. And obviously that's what pro players is a step above, right? That level of clear communication and quick communication makes it very, very interesting to watch.
I actually
quite also imagine.
Go ahead.
I just say, imagine the Valve employee who is listening as the true site, right? So he's listening to like the OG comms, and he's like, "Are these guys furries? Why are they? What is this cat and mouse thing they keep talking about?"
Especially with the amount of expletives, I'm sure that were laid in as well. No, they're a mouse.
Let's fuck the cat. Oh no! Oh.
It's a little bit more like Tom and Jerry, right, between cat and mouse, where in terms of the cat is not always in complete control. Sometimes the mouse can get in a little paper airplane and drop, light bulbs onto the cat, stuff like that.
I mean, Notail was the inventor of Rat Dota, right? He was the first to do it in a competitive match, so it would not surprise me that they were the ones that would amplify that.
That's actually one thing I really enjoyed about this TI. When they did get the true sites to, like, the little true site comms to properly work, I did think it was, like, really fascinating to hear how players communicated in the moment, because you're right. It's about clear and effective communication. That is, in essence, what a lot of cooperative games and experiences and what life in general is about. But usually in life, you don't have 0.3 seconds to answer and communicate, hey, this puck whipped coil and has BKB used already. You know what I mean? Like, you need to just drive the point home, and a lot of that comes just from playing with the same kind of team over and over again. And in these cases, what's really interesting to me, even developing a code. Hey, this puck is a mouse now. This puck is a mouse. This puck is no longer a cat. Like, that communicates so many things, right, about the team. And now we have our draft ready.
Yeah, that's why I love True Sight,
Radiant
and I'm glad they did
team
this in this
ban.
TI. I was listening to some team comms. I thought one of the funniest instances that I recall was because Thunder Awakened let me listen to some of their comms, and it was just a bunch of things, concepts and strategies thrown around, and then halfway through, like maybe every a couple of minutes, Matthew would go, "Okay, shut the fuck up, you idiots! Listen to me," and then he would do this. He explained exactly the plan. He would let them just blabber on, and then he would just do this every 5 minutes to like correct the course of this team. And it was very funny, very funny.
No, I think that's the best way to go. I'm reading a lot of. I'm really for some reason into naval history. It's so interesting, right? And captains, what they
You're
generally
American,
do.
it goes without saying.
I mean, I guess, right? What they generally do is they just course correct every now and then. They don't micromanage every single thing. They trust the crew to execute on them. And obviously, in the Dota world, captains don't go to sleep for 12 or whatever for 8 hours. But every now and then, the captain's got to do his own stuff in Dota. Matthew still has to get his farm. He has to get his items, right? El Gotito.
And they have to clear comps, but in a very mean way. He's calle mierdas. I like so let's talk about the draft a little bit. I don't know if you saw recently, Quinn posted a very interesting video with zero explanation, by the way, which I thought it was hilarious. But it was like, the title of the video was, "Do you want to know how to counter Leshrac and Razor in your pops? This Bloodstone build, right?" And there's no explanation, just pick Sniper, and it shows the game. But one thing I did realize was that the biggest weakness of Razor and Leshrac is because you're going for all this tanky build, and the whole idea is you survive so long, right? If there's nobody around you, you're not really lifestealing. It seems very simple concept, but it actually is what works. So Lina is the pseudo sniper, works in the same way, except as a more traditional mid laner. And the whole idea is to keep the Leshrac away and kill him before he can get close enough, so he actually doesn't spell steal at all. So I think it's a pretty solid counter. Of course, the Nyx makes this Lina a little bit more concerned, but with a traditional build of Lina rushing the BKB as soon as possible, it's not like Nyx is a clockwork, right? It's not that big a deal. And Atomic can't really pick Clock as a 5 because that's 2 melee supports.
And the one thing I wanted to actually add on to that is I think you're right about these Leshes, these Razors, these in-your-face AoE damage heroes that are now kind of a little bit free to run all over our pubs again with the nerfs to Wraith Pact, which I think were warranted, by the way. But I think what this has highly encouraged is the proliferation of the mobility meta a bit more. You see tons of 4-staffs, even snipers these days. Almost all the snipers I've seen have, at some stage, fairly early into their itemization, I'm talking like maybe second or third item, have picked up the shard, for the repositioning. And that does tend to be very powerful here, in addition to the Hurricane Pikes that you tend to see on your, sometimes Linas, on your SFs, So I do think you're completely right about that. It's the way about how these heroes respond if they don't have that built-in mobility here.
Also, the Doom, another hero that's been gaining a lot of popularity. I've seen this on Saberlight's stream, for example. He's talking about how this hero is currently in the S tier, which I thought was quite interesting, personally. I know that people value the Ags very highly, and that makes perfect sense. I think he's also pretty solid against this annoying Bloodstone meta as well, regardless of who it is against. Obviously, he's a bit worse against Lesh, but if Lesh only has Pulse Nova and can't split Earth constantly and Lightning Storm, it doesn't feel as great. And he's also kind of a freebie offlane most of the time. Just ignore that offlane, right? So if they pick the range carry, Doom can still survive, which is one of the issues people are having. If you don't pick Zoo in the offlane, like the Beastmaster Visage, it feels like at one point, if the enemy team has a range carry, like this Morphling, you just give up the lane. There's not much you can do, You don't kill because most of the melee ones lose. So Doom is great because he takes gold out of the lane regardless, gets space, and then in the mid game hunts them down with his Doom. So he's still useful.
Yep, he also kind of denies some of the more annoying heroes in the meta, basically just Beastmaster. Obviously, 33 showed us you can still play around this fairly effectively, just using axes, and then eventually still being a bit of a problem. But the fact that Doom gets online so quickly as a pseudo carry and can create a ton of space and deny your Helm of the, not an Overlord, but usually your Helm of the, what's it called? I keep forgetting the first Helm upgrade.
Helm of the Dominator.
Helm of the Dom, thank you. Yes. You can just eat the Helm of the Dom. Creep does significantly slow your push a lot. Super annoying. So I do like
That's
this.
True, actually. It is a good point, right? He's anti-Zoo in addition to fulfilling a lot of the things from Zoo. I also find that the taking the tier 1 tower that offlaners used to have to do, right? It was like set in stone plan. You have to take the tier 1 tower and then you can move around the map. I think that has died down a little bit. I think there's more flexibility right now around the map. And this has enabled Doom, arguably the worst one at doing this, at being a better offlaner. Doom and Pango particularly, I would say, are two offlaners that just suck at that. They just don't do well against that tower.
I've actually seen a handful of Doom carry games as well in this meta. Of course, paired with usually something like Alina in the mid lane, or especially a Nature's Prophet in the off lane, has been some pretty popular combos. Hence why I do call him a pseudo carry. You do kind of pick him for that early game momentum, and to somewhat deny someone like especially a Beastmaster or maybe even a Lycan from that early pressure where they know where it would take into the game. I mean, because like I can't tell you the amount of times in these qualifiers I've seen Beastmasters farming very sad in their own jungle, and that's not where you want to be as a Beastmaster in your first 20 minutes of the game.
I agree. I like where Atomic's head is at with the bans, by the way. I think Drow Ranger is very solid because you have Doom to cover him and Tusk as well. It's very, very good cores to cover any sort of range carry. I think Sniper's still a possibility as well. Very good against SeekNStrike and Morphling. But you do have two heroes then, Sniper and Lina, that are very similar. However, Atomic hasn't really responded to the Lina, so you could get away with it, to be honest. However, RZ could also try to go for a more teamfight-oriented carry, like you mentioned, right? I mean, not necessarily Doom, but something that gets online kind of early, or that has some sort of spell that can be used early, like a Void. You could consider some of the illusion carries that are faster, right? It's like the Naga Siren offers that a little bit now with the current catch build as well. But obviously, banned, and there's a Leshrac.
I really think they need some team fight, to be honest, for RZ Esports. I mean, Atomic aren't really proposing the craziest team fight either, but they do have last pick, so they can just go with something like, I don't know, like an Enigma or something, and that's almost like a be-all, end-all in these engagements. You do have Snowball to save against that, but
that's why I think Lifestealer, for example, which looks very good this game, is a bit weak because you might just get countered in lane. I was thinking something similar with Ursa. I think they're both pretty solid heroes against what they have right now. But if they just pick a bad lane against you, then all of a sudden your heroes feel like they're at half power. Good concession here that I was just thinking about would be Monkey King. His lane is not as important. You bring some team fight. You're also a second core with Lina. You can play a very nice dual core with that. Yeah. And he tends to be pretty good against heroes like Leshrac, because Leshrac cannot walk in the circle. Yeah,
I agree. Difficult, of course, to play a Monkey into a Nyx Assassin, and of course, maybe a little scary into the Morph, as he's a little anti-agi, but I agree. He does fulfill a lot of the other conditions that you're going to be looking for, and the lane is very strong, because if this is going to be a Rubik 5, I mean, this guy actually still could be a Lina carry, and then, okay, it is Lifestealer. Good guess there. So that is what they're going to run.
I think you just screw this though if you're Atomic Esports. Like I think you just try to destroy his lane as much as possible. And I'm thinking what heroes could do that. Like I actually wouldn't mind seeing something that is a bit more off meta, just to really, really drive the point in that Lifestealer is going to lose this lane. I'm talking like the Wind Ranger style Snapfire off lane. You know, DP is looking good to me here, to be honest.
Yeah.
You want range no matter what. Viper seems very tempting, but it is not good. You will get punished for that. Do not pick the Viper.
Do not pick Viper.
Viper Lifestealer is one of those matchups that should be good, but it's not as long as Lifestealer knows how to play it.
Interesting.
Okay, I love this pick, actually. This is the biggest, in my opinion, melee carry Punisher, right? But he's not ranged. So he's actually perfect against Lifestealer. You have high armor, so Feast doesn't do anything to you. You steal his gold, which makes it so that the win condition in the lane becomes weird. Like, Lifestealer's winning in last hits, but he's losing in gold. How? Well, because Bounty Hunter is just every single time, right? He's great against Rubik and Lina. He can be annoying against Doom because he can scout him out and provides a lot of vision. This is a very good pick. Interesting. Very off meta, I would say, but very good.
Yep. It is double invis, which always raises a little bit of concerns, especially because he is going to be on a bit of a playmaker role alongside the Nyx Assassin. You know, if like they get an early gem, or if all of a sudden you lose a fight and lose control over a certain part of the map, I think it is going to feel really difficult for Atomic to kind of reestablish themselves, given the heroes that they've chosen. Because I don't think your Morph or your Lesh, for a certain stage of the game, want to be the first heroes in, like a Nyx or a Bounty Hunter would ideally be for you. But yeah, I don't know. I like that. I like the picks. I do think Bounty Hunter in this role is going to be quite effective, and he can be online a bit faster, especially because during the later stage of the game, he can just hunt down and annoy the Rubik and the Lina a bit more. Curious how this Doom is going to itemize, whether or not he's going to go a little bit greedier into Midas, BKB Blink, or what his build exactly is going to be as well. I think this is a Doom off lane, which I actually haven't seen a whole lot of.
Yeah. I like it for this game, personally. Like I said, against Morphling. It's one of those lanes where there's a few heroes that really, really wreck the Morphling, but I think it depends on your support a lot. I don't think neither Rubik or Tusk, unless you combine it with something, maybe a Darkseer, really, really offer that kind of super kill potential. And I like that Doom is just going to be passively taking advantage of the lane, right? You're not going to win, you're not going to lose the lane. which is the same thing Lena's gonna do. So you can kind of do with Lifestealer being destroyed in the early by the bounty hunter.
You got into this match, right? I don't need to keep streaming you my Dota.
I did, yes, yes. God, it's the first match I get to see. Thank you to. Was it?
Yeah, it was a gentleman. It was smoke underscore something. But I'll give him a shout out for that because yeah, that was an interesting fix.
All right, let's see. I am fascinated by this lineup. I think the bounty hunter is very interesting. I have seen a lot of it as position 4 actually these days. Not much as an offlaner. People are highly valuing him as position 4.
Yeah, I've seen it a little bit as an offlaner in these qualifiers, but I don't think I've seen it ever on day 2. So this is interesting. Yeah. This is an interesting pick for Fiend because we are, of course, still in the best of ones here between Atomic Esports and RZ. Not the lowest stress of games. One more game and then you're into the relative safety of those best of 3s. And you got a full day of Dota tomorrow for both these guys with 3 best of 3s to be played.
Oh, interesting. Someone is a fan of the Depressed Kid, huh?
Depressed Kid?
Yeah, Depressed Kid, the mid laner.
Yeah, I know Depressed Kid.
Yeah, someone has Depressed Kid right after his name.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's him being a Depressed Kid or just a fan of that player. I want to assume it's the former. I want to hope it's the former.
Me too. Me too. All right, here it is. First bit of gold stolen. Cha-ching.
Oh!
What is that?
Look at that. 12 gold steal.
Net
All right,
worth.
Richie, we're going to play a game this game. We're going to have to guess how much gold the bounty hunter steals by the end of the game.
Okay. Can we see his item build before before we give the number? Or do we have to just guess now?
Oh, no. We have to. No. At the end of the game, when the game ends, we have to guess how much he stole. Yeah.
Got it. Sure. Well, he's at 24 right now, so.
Thank you. We're competing against each other, Richie. Don't help me. Someone? Oh no, he's a really depressed
36.
kid. And that's 36 gold.
That's 36 gold. First blood was stolen by Dark Willow, which is kind of cute because these two I think have a lot of lore interactions with each other, considering they're both pseudo bounty hunters, I believe. I think that's what Willow does, isn't she? She's like some sort of fairy bounty hunter.
Every Irish person is a bounty hunter. That's unfair because her accent's a little bit ambiguous. It's
yes,
hard to tell.
Geographically ambiguous accent, man. That's the problem with Dark Willow.
Luna has the same problem when everyone's like, Luna's Scottish, right? And the Scottish people go, what? When? Where? They get really angry at this. There's like 5 Scottish Dota players and they all abhor Luna.
That's true. They would gladly adopt Luna as Scottish if she were, say, I don't know, anti-monarchy probably, but until then, that's not going to happen.
No, she has to identify from being from a place in Scotland, right? So then Glaswegians can go and be like, she's from Aberdeen, we don't speak like that, and then just like throw it to someone else. That's what they like to do. Or she's from Edinburgh, then that's when everyone in Scotland agrees to hate her, and that would be fine too.
Feels like a Limmy bit in the making.
Big fan. Okay, so I also like Fiend went for the Shuriken toss as well. This is the full laning build. I've seen some bounties try to go for an early point in Shadow Walk. It did get some decent buffs.
Yeah, that's true.
It also ensures your laning phase, right? But when you're up against a Lifestealer or Tusk, the kill potential is not really there. Go for the full damage build, right? This is the best way to build them, to have impact.
I kind of reckon in this match, you probably don't want to really be abusing this attack speed buff on the Shadow Walk until you have Vanguard. Because then you really, really have a huge advantage in these trades. But that Vanguard should be on the way relatively soon. I think he's got Ring of Health already.
Become unkillable. And this might be one of the few guys that actually kicks the Lifestealer out of lane. I think very few offlaners can actually kick the Lifestealer out of lane. But Bounty Hunter accomplishes this by just stealing all his gold. So each last hit counts as less. And it's a very odd way of playing this matchup that, especially with Vanguard, makes it really annoying for Lifestealer.
I actually had no idea that Bounty can only steal from your unreliable gold. I guess that makes sense. He can't hack into your bank account, but he can just reach into your pockets and take a little bit of that money.
He's a very low-level kind of scam artist, right? Yeah. He doesn't really...
That's true.
No, he's not like the owner of FTX. He's very...
Very true. Do you imagine if Bounty Hunter... Hey, Tusk, I'm calling about your car insurance.
The interesting thing about Bounty Hunter is that while he was stealing from me, he was playing League of Legends. I just thought that was so impressive.
Ice Shard's a little bit misplaced. We're going to stop that chase in progress as Bounty Hunter turns for a little bit more gold. Cha-ching, cha-ching. As Morphling going to be taking a little bit of damage here from that percentage-based Infernal Blade. A little bit of pain.
Yeah, they went for the 1 point Infernal Blade quite early, right? So they actually want to put some damage into the Morphling. We've been seeing more and more about this on Dooms. I think Infernal Blade's a very, very strong spell for sure.
Yep. Oh, yeah, and it's working, right, actually, because if you take a look at Marb's build, this is the super safe and has been, in the past, the very standard Morphling laning stage build. But these days, Morphs have preferred to actually go 0-2-1 at level 3. It's just to dish out more harass damage with the Adaptive Strike, considering how efficient it is. Obviously, not on this lane. It's a bit too difficult for him.
It's also an easy and secure way to secure the range last hit, right? Which, because he can't do it as consistently, the Doom can very much punish that with an Infernal Blade if he's out of position. As you can see by Marb being really low.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a problem. I'm surprised Atomic Esports, so they have kind of sent the Nyx mid to rotate and deny the water rune refill for the Lina. So she actually had to make a long walk of shame back home. It has, of course, kind of left Marb alone in the bottom lane. But so far, just okay. He's even picked up there the flag barrier creep and kind of denied this half pull. So not too bad for him. Top lane, Fiend, in a bit of trouble, but is very tanky here. Even with that tag team damage, all that armor being put to good work here.
This hero has a stupid amount of armor. People often forget about that from Bounty Hunter, but he's level 4, has 0 armor items, and he already has 10 armor. It's absurd. Now you add the Vanguard, I literally think he's unkillable in this lane.
I think Lina may have been denied another water rune refill there. I'm not exactly sure. Indeed. Yeah, indeed. So a bit of a tough lane stage for her. Does evade a death here, but from behind comes the Rubik. Telekinesis in place. Okay, they're just going to look for Ha now, and there's the connection from the Nyx Assassin joining from the bottom lane. Rubik's courier running on through. Now Nyx courier running through, but it's going to be Lina doing no more running as she drops. And that is a very strong start here for Yana in the mid lane. Top, they just can't kill Fiend.
He won't die. They have tag team now. Willow's coming in. He wants to steal gold in the middle of this. Actually got Shuriken toss. Now, going for Prodigy Han. Decides someone's a little bit better, but they're both also quite tanky. So they could dive this without many repercussions. Bounty is not known for his kill potential early, but he's just stolen a bunch of gold, so it doesn't really matter that much.
That he has. And something I want to point out is that even though this Morph is definitely kind of struggling, he's getting his CS in, and by going for the safe build here with the 2 points in attribute shift, and now the 1 point in safety waveform, like, he can be, you can afford to kind of leave him alone, honestly. He's not going to be that easily killed. Same thing obviously can be said top lane, and this frees up Nyx Assassin to do just this mid. A second kill secured onto the Lina.
As Calais also came, but a little bit late. They were expecting some sort of rotation, but unfortunately couldn't really respond in time. Jonas chasing after him. Jotun has an Impale in 4 seconds. I think this kill is almost guaranteed. Really nice telekinesis. Jotun misses the Impale. I spoke too soon. Calais is too good. And Jotun got ahead of himself as someone that's in the top lane. One more mana burn for good measure, but Calais will survive.
This is really great for Atomic. I mean, obviously, right? Bounty Hunter is the perfect hero to play with this kind of, oh, my mid laner can force fights early and take objectives, and I'm an early hero that can snowball us. Yes, please. Like, this is absolutely going very swimmingly for them in case the 3k net worth lead is not indicative of that.
Right. The Doom on the Morphling has already been used as well, and this is another really good thing for Atomic because, like you said, Morphling can be left alone. Only, though, if the Doom is not available, right? Because if the Doom is available, they can't kill him. Now it's just been wasted. Perfect. You know, it's still hard, but it's possible. And now he's pretty much immune, so it's a really, really good situation. I also love that Yona went for this full-on laning build, especially against Alita. You know, Split Earth and Lightning Storm both getting maxed, and they got some kills, which means they took advantage of this build already.
And they catch themselves a Doom. He's pretty speedy. They don't even need the Split Earth. That was very easy. And that is more gold into the pockets of Marb. And a tip from Fiend, who is just asking Lifestealer, you having fun in this game yet, bud?
Yeah, look, if you look at the net worth, man, Lifestealer feels like a support, and he actually has pretty good last hits. It's brutal, man.
Yeah, unreliable gold. I mean, he's just constantly getting his gold stolen here. Now with the Vanguard up and running, like, you just cannot. This is 11 armor plus, what, a 60% chance to block 64 damage, which is about half, even more than half, 2/3 of the damage Lifestealer's doing right now per right click.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, you just can't. You just can't deal with him. That's why he's such a good counter to Lifestealer. I'd argue he's better than Slaughter right now because of the passive way you beat this lane, right? Slaughter requires kills to really make it happen, whereas Bounty just needs to exist, and that's fine. As long as you don't kick him out of lane, he's winning.
Good defensive warding here. It's going to stop Lina from picking up the stacks, which certainly burns, but burns less than getting killed.
He's dead. That missed impale, or maybe avoided, you could say, by both someone and Ha, and they're able to get another little 4. Doesn't matter as long as the cores from a topic, though, are still leading the net worth chart, which they certainly are.
Oh yeah, very easily.
Doom could maybe turn this around. He'll probably be the first to get online, but he did go for the Midas build. Very common build, mind you, but of course this delays the Doom start ever so slightly.
A very good line as well.
Oh, I just noticed as well that Doom actually is a fan of Whisper. You see?
Oh yeah, look at that.
That is definitely a homage. It's not like the press kit. I don't think that means anything else, because he even misspelled it like Whisper does.
Maybe it means he's going to be gone like a whisper.
In the wind, right? Yeah.
Like un whisper.
Like un whisper,
Un
dos
whisper.
whispers.
Dos whisperes.
It's funny because I asked Whisper why he isn't just called susurro, which is what it's called in Spanish, and he goes, "What's that?" So,
I've also never heard that word either. Top lane though, fight breaking out.
Yoda is gonna die despite that's Laguna Blade, but Fiend is a little bit too tanky still. He just runs away with the extra attack movement speed, and he is going to be fine for now. He gets a little bit of gold stolen from the Rubik, this cheeky bounty hunter.
Why not? A little bit
There's
more,
Joker
please.
nearby. They could get this kill. He's not going to die to Lina physical damage. Look at him. He's immune. Lina's barely tickling him.
And even got the with that final kill, he got the experience he needed for the point and shadow walk. So it's really hard. I mean, obviously, very hard to kill him now.
Also,
That
he was calculating that.
was
That's
really
very
nice.
clever.
That was really nicely done. That was pretty cool. This guy's good.
Yeah, it is. He is good. Yeah. I'm liking this bounty hunter player. It's rare you say this about bounty hunter players as well. Funnick was the last person people said this about.
Tusk is good LSA. Tusk, unfortunately, he failed in refilling the bottle of Lina, so it's just bad news bears right now.
He's what? Look at him.
Why not?
He just wants that gold no matter what. Come at me, he says. That tower actually is dealing 0 damage to the bounty hunter.
It actually kind of, yeah.
Oh my god. They're not safe anywhere. Bounty can see them. Bounty can just hit him with a shuriken. He's gonna kill someone. Someone's dead. Oh my god.
Here's magic
Fiend
damage though.
might have gone a bit too far.
Oh,
though.
look at that! Look at that one!
Second Fiend.
Look
Run!
at that!
You don't have a hood. Okay, he got away.
Oh jeez, that was so close.
This man, I think his name also suits his playstyle very much. He is certainly a Fiend.
You know, there's some real fun heroes in the meta. At least fun to watch. I can't imagine very fun to play against heroes right now. Have you seen any of this Riki support?
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's been a thing. Flapjack told me about how he was winning with Riki support and he felt like he was cheating, and apparently he was just ahead of meta. It's ridiculous.
It's real fun. I played a game of it last night, and someone went, "Can you not pick a shit support hero?" And I said, "Just wait, my friend," and then carried him through the lane. It was incredible.
Yes.
The hero's so
That's what
good.
they did. That's what they do to me when I play my Arc Ward in support. It's actually very fun.
Really? Arc Ward
But I
support?
also get reported.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun. 5. Calais is going to die most likely. They steal the Shadow Realm to get a little bit more vulnerability, but they should have some area damage. They burst down KTI, and this DP was actually very long from Fiend, which is why they can't get the kill on Rubik. Nice counter initiation, but now that Laguna Blade's down, Fiend knows he's immune to this Lina.
Yeah, just a fantastic bit of ice shards. I've been quick to call out the ice shards that weren't perfect, but those were absolutely perfect ice shards. Completely turned that engagement on its head, and nice play from the Rubik as well to give him the required setup to do that as well. So nice job.
He's choosing to go for the big AV by the way before the Scepter, which is interesting. I actually think if you don't go for Scepter super early, you can fall off really easily as Bounty Hunter, so it's a very risky move. But it will also help to enable the 2 other cores in his team, which I would argue are more important cores anyway, you know, Morphling and Lesh. So I respect this move. In a competitive game, I think this is the right move.
Yeah.
Maybe in a pub, it would be probably bad.
I'm also kind of curious, like, it's got mostly to do with the control, I understand. But right now he's basically just vulnerable to the magic damage, and I guess maybe a Doom could kill him. As you could see, the Doom here taking practice swings, really good stun onto 2. He's gonna turn with the Doom because it's Max Angie. He got him mid-shift. What a player! Fu Yao, nicely done there. Really, truly channeling the Whisper in his tag to pick up the kill onto the Morphling. That was really nicely done.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I don't know if he had a sentry down. He did. See, look at that. He actually had this ward down, so he probably knew that the Nyx assassin had rotated over from the mid lane. Didn't exactly know where he was, but still had the idea that they were about to jump him. Good stuff.
That was right, like I said, that was right before the Lincoln, so it was actually the right moment to kill the Morphling. At least Lesh has some space now to recover. Another TP from Marv down bottom on Calais.
Oh, we didn't track him.
Might just find him. Good attribute shift steal from the Rubik. And he's going full strength, losing all his armor.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's what you want to do against this bounty hunter.
Yeah. Oh, that was very hopeful. Impale. Jotun gets a nice little spike Carpus, but unfortunately the Ice Shards close him in, and he'll die to the Infernal Blade damage.
Yeah.
Interesting choice to impale that. I think. Yeah, I don't know. He guessed he would catch the Rubik.
Yeah, I guess maybe they thought they'd kind of flush him out by then, but could not evict the Rubik from the jungle that quickly or from the trees. He was reminiscing the days when you used to be able to buy a Blink Dagger, Arcane Boots, a full Blade Mail as well from the side shop. Good times. Did you buy a regen from the side shop back in the day?
Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah,
No.
Ring of Health, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
That's
right.
stupid.
Yeah, that was real dumb.
And then MD was like, oh yeah, this double Ring of Regen thing also works.
I remember Ring of Tarask. Smoke on smoke action here,
Yes.
broken by the Nyx Assassin. They're going to be trying to jump the Lina first. Connects on the Impale. There's going to be the Terrorize. Only
Nice,
finds
Terrorize.
the Rubik. But, oh, actually
found
found the
Tusk
Tusk as well. Pardon me. Just caught him. That's the Lifestealer. Yeah, he's not doing anything this game quite yet. Trying to get involved, but can't really fight versus Marb this easily yet. Counter initiation. They're looking for the Morphling. They have him here stuck on max attribute shift for the Morph, and they've actually killed him.
Okay, but in comes Leshrac, hoping to kill Fuyao. Thanks to the nice impale from Jotun, they managed to get him. Now Rage activated a part of Jihan, making sure that he can get away. However, Yona's still chasing after him. They have a Split Earth. Curse Crown first. They can't dispel it. Split Earth hits, and they stun into the stun, making sure that Prodigy Hunt dies with one last impale to secure the kill. So it still ended up being good for Atomic. However, I do want to commend the Lina here, because what Ha did was show himself with really low HP to taunt the Morphling into waveforming into him, and then getting caught full attribute shift. He did have time to make it into strength, but he played a little bit extra greedy, which anyone would do when you see a Lina with 200 HP.
Yeah.
So,
That's
good
just,
play by Ha.
That's just Morphling things. Ultimately, though, as you say, it's still a big win for Atomic. They interrupt the Lifestealer's farming, who is, by the way, just 1,000, maybe 900 gold over the Willow right now, so that hurts. Can they kill Fiend here? They've used all the spells that they have. They need a second salvo of spells, and they will, pardon me, eventually take him down with the right clicks. Careful, though, Lina. No, she'll be okay. The Infest to give her some more HP, just in case.
I think you could have baited her there, but I respect the fact that they did. Ha already baited himself once. Maybe you choose to save him this time.
Oh, block the stack. Yes, Jotun. That is what we do as supports. We ruin enemies' efficiencies. He scouted underneath the sentry. That was made plainly obvious there by Lifestealer. They're fighting in the river.
Yona? Yeah, they doomed him before he could get full snow, which means his Bloodstone is kind of useless here. They might just be able to kill him. Yeah, it's very easy. With the Laguna Blade committed, he will fall, and this might lead to a tier 1 mid. Fiend already TP'd in here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he doesn't do as much without the Ags.
No, that's true. But you don't have Doom, you don't have Laguna. I wonder how worth it is. I think actually Atomic could probably defend this if they get the Morphling to show up. I don't think he's really scared of anything right now, especially with the bonus track gold you'd be getting from these engagements. It's well worth their time to defend, I would say. I don't think RZ are at their peak strength, having already expended the big ultis.
It's true. I do think the Mountie should have been there, right? But they couldn't. Like, if they decide to retreat, they have no options. Okay,
Yeah.
like, you just let them go. As long as your tier 1 survives, I think it's the biggest win Atomic could get. And now you wait for Lesh to come back and Morphling to come online. Because Marb went for a really old build with the Lincolns. Much better nowadays, mind you, and very good this game particularly, but still very slow for a Morphling.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have minded completely, to be honest, especially if he was going to be playing a little bit more passive. Like with Lincolns, I thought he would be eager to join the fight, honestly, because then you block telekinesis or you give yourself time to shift after your Lincolns gets popped and you know a lift is coming or something, right? You know, I think if you wanted to play like this, I maybe would have preferred at least the Yasha first so he can accelerate his farm rate a bit more if he's going to be a little bit more AFK farming. But we'll see here. With the Bounty Hunter, perhaps, I think, especially now with BKB, he can look to still accelerate this game alongside his Lesh, who has Bloodstone completed and is nearly to the full BOTs, which allows him to zip around in these fights and really do the damage he needs.
No Nether Shawl, though. Sorry, Nether Shawl. Eternal Shroud, which will make him a little bit more vulnerable to being bursted by Alina, particularly, and does reduce his...
Wow, they forced Alina BKB top, though, and Killer Courier.
Very good BKB, though, I will say, by Hall. I like that he didn't doubt that he was going to get killed if he literally stood a second longer there, so I think that was a very, very nice decision-making, even if you do lose the BKB charge.
And checking in on
Perhaps
us.
defending that tower was not the best choice. But
Yes, agreed. And committing to BKB to correct that error is certainly worth it to save your life.
yes,
Because
no sunken cost fallacy.
yeah, because your lifestealer's he's doing a good job recovering. I must say. I think he's just about halfway towards the Desolator now, but he's still fairly far behind. So this is gonna be very problematic. They know he's down here. Oh, they've canceled the TP and they've killed the Nyx assassin, and they've killed also Katie. Nicely done. That'll secure the tower for sure.
I thought it was KTI, right?
ETI?
Key Arena. Key Arena TI.
Key Arena TI? Confirmed?
This guy is. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he's actually called Valve.KTI. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Wait, is he really? Is it Val?
No.
Oh, that'd be funny.
That would be very funny though. I wish.
That's how they announce everything now. You have to watch random stuff. It's like a freaking ARG. Oh, whoa, their spidey senses were tingling. They found themselves a bounty hunter here.
Yeah. And because he went for BKB, he doesn't have anything to do against it. Mind you, the Axe wouldn't done anything, right? But with the BKB, right now, any second you spend dead is a second that you can't be creating space for your cores, which I think is the mentality behind this build.
I wonder how they knew he was there, because he doesn't have any auras, and as far as I can see, he didn't track anyone.
No, they literally saw him. He was he
was
faded in front of them.
Ah, that'll do it.
Yes, that was why. I mean, it was nighttime, so it was a little bit hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure they saw him fade.
They caught him with their eyes, is what you're saying. They used their eyes.
That's something that most people on my rank actually struggle to do.
Yeah, it is pretty difficult, to be honest, using those things. For sure.
Yeah, it's two of them as well. How do you're supposed to control one, let alone two?
This Doom is fairly strong. He's got Blink and even now, well, he went for Midas, of course, already, but he's almost got the BKB up, so he did kind of get away with going for a slightly greedier but better Doom build. He will scale very nicely.
Yes. The classic old 11 build. Oh, I don't have a carry again. Let me carry the game solo. I like this. I think it's the correct build for this game. I also think there's not much... Like, yeah, there's a time pressure because... It does seem to me like Atomic will outscale you, but you're a mid-game team. So it's 25 to 35 minute mark is your real peak. So if Doom had rushed any other build, it would have weakened him a lot for that peak.
Yeah.
And he couldn't play around with the Lifestealer.
I actually think I almost maybe slightly prefer RZ's chances late this game, because I think like this is a game where a Lina. Because of the Lina, and I think Lifestealer BKB solves a lot of his problems. Obviously, he's not going to buy that anytime soon, but like a 40-minute BKB here, I think actually kind of wrecks Atomic. Oh, great stun,
That was a good spike Carpus. Yep, and now the Terrorize. This time it misses everyone. BKBs. Onto Yona they go. Perma stunned him, so Yona is just going to die despite the Bloodstone, and Marv gets hit with a Laguna Blade immediately. He's going to die in the air. Fiend at least tanks this better, but he has no utility in these fights anymore. Terrorize stolen by Rubik will hit both! Well done, and that stops the counter initiation from Nyx. Marv is about to die, manages to waveform Jotun, gets one last impale, which hits absolutely everyone, and that is going to allow the Morphling to live.
Yep, I don't think they'll chase here. There's a Blink Dagger in 2 more seconds, yeah, but they won't risk it. That was such an incredible fight for actually RZ. I couldn't believe it. That was a fight without Doom, and they still actually won it. Not Doom the hero, Doom the ability, and they absolutely crushed it. Atomic Esports not doing Rush fast enough, too low resources on the way out. They lose the Aegis, they lose the Leshrac.
He broke smoke. That's why they noticed.
Ah, okay.
He broke their smoke. That was why.
See, Zero's got these things called eyes. Very good.
Yeah, we're both really bad at that. There's a reason why Dawei is above both of our ranks.
Is he? Is he
he doesn't
still?
even play Dota anymore.
God damn, Dawei.
Yeah, it's very depressing. It's very depressing.
Honestly. This is a opportunity.
He plays on top of a Bone Rattler. I don't know if you knew that.
The Bone Rattler, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, the Bone Rattlers. They rattle the bones of the Doom. Fuyao. He's dead.
Great name, by the way. Phonetically speaking. Oh, love it, honestly.
I agree.
He is gonna go back for the axe. Did you see his quick buy earlier? He was thinking, I could go Basher, Assault Caress, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And now he's back to the normal bounty hunter build of axe. Okay, that seems more logical. Sometimes when you're an offlaner and you get a really good start, you think, I could just beat the carry this game. And I feel like it's good for Fiend to rein this in.
Yes.
I respect the BKB decision, but I will say that in team fights, he feels useless. I don't think he's scaling or taking advantage of this early at all. And at least with the Ags, you can kill supports. But right now, you're just a bad tank, really. because they just ignore you, and all you're doing is stealing a little bit of gold, which was important earlier, certainly not as much now.
You need to find more relevance in the fights, basically, and I think you can accomplish that either through going Ag Scepter, as of course it gives you a lot of physical damage, and here they go, they're going to catch him. He pops BKB here. I don't think there's any chance to turn. That's regular Terrorize used, as the Rubik Stolen Terrorize kicked off this fight. Fiend, though, under that long duration BKB, still managing to evade death, as they are trying to jump this Lina. She's going to go ahead and carefully maneuver around them, though, to continue this fight going. RZ resetting, as is Atomic. And just a lot of saber rattling here. No bone rattling, only saber rattling.
Yeah, well, to me, the question mark for Atomic scaling is definitely on this bounty hunter. Because if he can't perform at the... Sorry, if he can't scale, which I don't think is up to his playstyle, it's more up to like his itemization and being able to find the kills that allow track to really enable him, I feel like this team will fall behind. Because you're playing 3 courses too, essentially, right?
Yeah. The point I was trying to get to is I think alternatively he may consider finding relevance through, I'm not sure about Wraith Pact this game, but perhaps like a Crimson.
Auras.
Just auras, right? That's another way to find relevance.
I don't like both, to be honest. I think they're pretty good.
Agreed.
Vlad's is very good this game. The Wraith Pact can be easily destroyed by Lina, but it's a nuisance to the lifestealer, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so that's why I'm considering it here. Even reduces the burst damage that the Tusk offers as well, should be stated, right? Which is
sure, right? Because it reduces...
Yeah, physical.
Does it reduce tag team? Yeah,
it
right?
reduces... I don't know if it reduces tag team. I'm not sure how tag team's calculated. If it's just added to the auto attack, and if it is, then it would be reduced. Because it also works on spells.
It is physical spells then, right?
Yeah, it does work on like bristles and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, then it does definitely reduce tag team.
So then I think it is a viable consideration. As long as you're not getting magical bursted at the start of these fights, then I think it's a very, very good item. Careful though.
Okay, they go for Fiend, and this time they're actually initiating on in the offlaner, which is probably Fiend's best.
Oh, he got away. That's good.
Yeah, this is good for them. I actually don't think this is bad for Atomic at all, because Fiend is just able to... he's able to do something by just catching their attention, and this was the real purpose of the BKB, right? Just getting away from these fights, making sure Morphling has some space, and being useful by just being a nuisance and wasting time.
Yeah, I think the only issue part of me that I have to say is that it's really, if we're going to go back to the OG cat and mouse, Atomic Esports for the past couple of minutes are certainly, like, they're big mouse energy. They're not really in a position where they can afford to fight. I think Scotty certainly changes that for Marb, but he's still a full component away. Just 1,200 now. It's the cheapest component at least, but he needs a couple more minutes. But very good usage of the BKBs by Atomic Esports to enable that at the very least. I do think what I've been most surprised by is how little impact I felt from this Leshrac in the past 5 minutes. I was expecting more off of this Bloodstone, and it just really hasn't panned out for him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's true. Yoda has not had the impact we usually see from these Bloodstone builds that have been dominating the meta. And it's unfortunate because now it feels like a lot is on the Morphling. And while I think Morphling versus Lifestealer is a fine matchup, especially with Scotty, the Lina is still a worry. Because unlike Agi carries, you can't just go Ags and waveform into her Ags, and then all of a sudden she's much less useful. Since she's an int hero, Ags is kind of useless on her, to be honest. Against her, rather. You're not going to take away her attack speed. So the Morphling needs to find a more creative solution, which is Scotty plus really good positioning plus the double waveform. Oh, sorry, that doesn't even exist anymore. The waveform cooldown I don't think gives you that. So, not really sure actually what the solution is anymore.
Yeah.
A tough one, right? Because Morphling is not a hero that can like close gap and burst too quickly anymore.
I could see very good use for a Swift Link this game from Marb. I think that's
a
late,
good idea.
that's late on the wish list, but I would actually really like that item.
Yeah, but Lina is late on the wish list anyway. Like you are considering what do you do against her late game, and I think that's a pretty good idea. I like the Swift Link a lot. Yeah, I like that.
Because the Ags, of course, is not really too big of a consideration here for the Morphling, of course, is why we are
certainly not
going for other items, right? It's not something we said explicitly, though, but it's good against Agi cores, and, well, neither Lifestealer nor Lina is in that category. Good jump here, though. Yeah. Kick it off onto the Tusk.
Tusk dies. It's good against strength cores as well if your goal is to tank in the team fights.
They use Bloodstone. Lesh is a bit weak, and they've caught Fiend.
Fiend is no longer tanky enough.
Yeah, even with BKB.
He's going to die here, I think, to the Infernal Blade damage. There you go.
And there's no chance right now for Atomic to re-engage. They didn't use the Doom in that fight, and I believe they still retained a couple of their BKB charges. Lina especially, was not spooked into using hers. So RZ, pardon me, they hold the high ground beautifully there, reestablish control over the ward, and they send Atomic packing. Very nice.
And now you're in the moment that, regardless if they can scale or not, this is RZ's best moment in the game, right? Like, your Lifestealers finally come online, your Lina is already pretty useful as well, your Doom is perma-farmed, and he has
Radiant's bottom
Doctrine
tower
Core, for
is
God's
under
sake.
attack.
It's looking good for them.
That
So
BKB, does
I'm
he have
wondering
the-
what Atomic will do.
He did have the Ogre Axe. Okay, really good courier pathing, by the way. Lifestealer, he sent his courier, like, he hooked it around that cliff ward, which ensured that he got his BKB delivered. I think this is a huge moment for
Nice.
them. I think BKB destroys Atomic Esports
Yes.
for this Lifestealer. Very good pickup.
Lesh actually has no utility right now. I really appreciate his adaptation of Lotus Sword and... Ooh.
Okay, not bad. You spooked the
Interesting
Lina.
BKB.
You spooked Lina there.
I think Lesh's adaptation of going Lotus Orb this game in Blink as well is really, really clever. I think that he acknowledges his position as not really the win condition this game, but he's going to try to be useful anyway. But that means all in on the Morphling right now. Fiend activates his BKB, Walrus Punch still catches him, Doom comes in, they're going for the support first. They tomb the Bounty as well, so they're hoping for 2 kills here. I think the Bounty's hard. Very nice illusion block there. And KTI is just trying to get as much space as possible.
Something canceled his blink there. Didn't quite, or his TP. I thought he was TPing in the shadow. Oh, they might get Morph. Excuse me? He's still stunned through the Lincoln's Walrus Punch. He's dead. He was just casually farming.
Yeah. Walrus Punch goes through Lincolns, right? I never thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether they got through the
It just
Lincoln.
goes through, I'm pretty sure.
My,
It's like Infernal Blade goes through too.
my goodness. My goodness. They just murdered him.
That's brutal. Yeah, that is brutal. Now you're looking to read that position. Morphling is your sole win condition.
Yeah.
You definitely cannot come back if he starts dying with this.
Yeah, Morphling just straight up should not have been farming there. He was basically farming right next to a highway or something like that, and kind of strayed a bit too close to one of the lanes. You know, a stray
poor
Tesla.
recruit
A
Morphling.
Tesla thought he was the road and kind of just went burp burp, and exploded in a big old fireball. Made a tweet,
Rich,
and
what-
then the tweet got deleted. You know.
I was gonna say, Richie. I'm looking at your Twitter. It just got deleted. I don't know what
all
happened.
my followers.
Oh, you got blocked? Oh no!
I'll pay
And somehow-
$8 and then I can say whatever I want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I feel like this Atomic needs to find a way both for Bounty to be useful beyond. I don't know if this hack is going to be enough, and they also need to enable
good
the
jump.
Morphling. That's a good start. If they can kill him in time,
Nicely
they do.
done.
Fuyao still comes in. Okay, that would be a really good method if they can punish this. Tusk coming in, trying to give him a little bit of space. Fuyao will not die. Marv was a little bit late here, and losing the Tusk is no big deal. However, this might mean Roche for Atomic. Does this Roche carry Shard?
Yes, it's second
Yes,
rush.
it does. Okay.
And
So-
that's a big one.
Red Shard, right?
Yeah, that could have been way worse. Oh, they actually still lose the Nyx Assassin. I'm not sure how he ended up on the cliff. Probably that Blink Dagger had something to do with it. We'll see, though, what they can get going here. And I think it's going to be not much without that Lifestealer. I think it's still Lina doing a lot of work in these fights, but Lifestealer is certainly a problem, and he needs to be addressed, and he creates a lot of space for Lina up front so that Lina can just stand back and do a lot of the damage. With him not alive, contesting this Roshan does not feel possible. Now Marb, maybe a little bit more wind underneath his sails. Aegis in tow, full Iascani next into the BKB, already having half the funds required for it.
Yeah. Okay. Small. I mean, this is good hope for them, right? We're nearing the end of the moment where Atomic is just going to be much weaker against RZ, and now they managed to survive this onslaught. I think they have many more options in these fights. The Ags on the Bounty Hunter is also online if he wants to buy it, which I think he should. If your 2 lives are worth nothing, you might as well not save for buyback, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think Fiend should just buy the Ags here.
I think for his concern potentially at this stage is that these fights are not really lasting as long as he would hope they are. You know, when you have a Leshrac, when you have a Morphling, you're probably hoping for some longer fights. Hold that thought, they're fighting now. They've blown up the Nyx again.
Yeah, but look at how little he does. Like,
I
your best
agree.
bet in the fight is just sacrificing
Hey.
yourself. And
Hey, I agree. All I'm saying is that perhaps he's considering turning this point booster into a Wraith Pact.
that would be fine. If that's that's fine.
Yeah.
I agree with that point.
Yeah. That's all. Because these fights are not long, and you know, if these 10-second fights, all of a sudden the enemy team has to spend 3 seconds killing a Wraith Pact, hey, that's a lot.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care what he does. I just want him to do
Yes,
something.
he
in
should
team
spend
fights,
this money. He's right now. He's just kind of flexing. He's posting, you know, his Zell transfers, you know, on the Instagram close friend story, and everyone's like, "Why are you doing this? Just spend your money a different way." Weird
A
flex.
picture with a bunch of tigers.
Yeah,
for some
that's
reason.
for what,
Yeah.
dude? Come on.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, no, Fiend. Please find your impact this game, Mr. Bounty Hunter.
He just needs to find his path.
In life, I think the Lich though has found his path.
Oh, hold on.
finally
You
with
gotta
the
sell
Shark.
that. There it is. Okay, very good. He got a little quick buy bug. He bought 2 Ogre Axes on accident,
Are scanning.
but he's
Okay,
committed.
He got
Excellent.
the eggs. There we go. And the Seal Totem, which I think is actually a really good item on the Bounty Hunter. The stat is nice, but more importantly, Bounty is one of those heroes that wants to hit once and then run away, right? But you're not going to buy Blink or Force Staff in this hero, so... I mean, you could, but it's pretty bad. So the Seal Totem acts as somewhere in between. You're tanky enough to take the hits or stun, so the Seal Totem allows you to do tank a couple of hits, still survive, get away, and get 1 hit of Janata plus
Hey.
your Shuriken.
Check this out, though. He's not going to be the only acceptor that's online for this site. Oops! That button works. That's awkward.
Okay.
We won't bring that
You
up
gotta
more
test
than
it.
we
You
need
gotta
to.
test it.
You gotta test it the once. You gotta test it the once.
good
Fuyao,
stuff.
though, he's got himself his own acceptor, which is very good against this Lotus and Lincolns that you're playing against.
I do like this Axe. I think the Axe is very, very strong. Obviously on the self-doom, right? When you area doom someone, it feels very weak because I don't think there's a purpose to it unless the enemy team is bad. But if you're playing competitive, that's not the case. But being able to blink in with doom already activated, thus preventing potential BKBs, right? It really changes the name of the game because all of a sudden, if you're atomic, do you have to BKB before so doom can't war stomp you? That feels really bad. So
Morphling? Marb.
I like this idea.
Oh no, he can't hear the Tesla coming. It's silent.
Oh no! The silent killer.
Oh,
Fuyao goes in, caught him. There you go. Raccoon is roadkill. Yona though is trying to get some space. There is the Aegis. The Doom area Doom has been activated. He's still muted.
Good force.
He's trying to shift. Force that's saving him, but they're gonna hit him with the Walrus Punch. However, damage not enough. Marm comes back in. The Terrorize trying to reset the
Wow.
fight, and the life is online. Ha is dead thanks to Jotun as well.
They caught him with
Phoenix
fear.
on board, and they do get him with a splitter, allowing them to finish him off.
Atomic
Oh, no.
Esports, they're probably like, why didn't Lifestealer press BKB in that fight? It was still on
God.
cooldown.
Remember, even in a Tesla, the passenger is not safe. As Atomic manages to kill the tower down bottom here. And they're going to take the Rubik as well. Khaled is pretty bad if he dies. He's the last alive member. And he doesn't have any buyback, which means now the Lina has no chance of buying back here to defend anything. And, I mean, luckily the tier 2 mid is still alive. They could potentially go top if they wanted to. They do have a Lesh with the Valak Edict ready, and that's what he's going to do exactly.
Dire's bottom barracks has fallen.
Yeah, it is going to be 2 lanes of barracks are swiftly in control of Atomic Esports, man. One little misclick what could have been. Good force staff out, good cast, and really good team fight actually there from Atomic Esports. Is going to allow them to
Yoda.
prevail. Yeah, really good stuff. Good force staff as well. I think Dark Willow played that fight perfectly. Kind of just threw out a Bramble Maze and caught 2 heroes with it. And just giving that kind of vision to your team allows Marb to, you know, they all know what's coming. And they played that fight perfectly. Really well executed. Yeah, just amazing.
What a terrorize as well. And also, night and day performance from Fiend in this fight, right? Even though it's hard to quantify how much the Ag's health, the damage that he was actually dealing against Lina was much more impactful and against all the supports. He was a threat, and they couldn't just ignore him like before. And also, this allowed Fiend to not just make the one play he can do in team fights, which is run in and hope to catch their attention, right? He had much more of an option here, and you can really notice that. So, thank you, Fiend, for buying that Ags before this engagement.
And if we look at the other side of the coin, I mean, let's gloss over the obvious accidental BKB usage. It happens. Let's, you know, nothing more needs to be said there.
Yeah,
I genuinely think the bigger mistake is choosing to fight when enemies had about maybe 70 seconds left on Aegis. Even though you had Doom Ags, I just don't think that's a well-calculated fight to be taking there, especially in an area where you didn't really have the vision. I mean, yes, you do jump the Squishy Morph as the Aegis carrier, and you actually kill him very quickly on the first life. With the AoE Doom, it's quite possible you can kill him a second time, but just a bit unfortunate for them.
I see what they were trying to go for. I think the force type kind of surprised them, to be honest. I didn't really consider that either. It has really low range, so being able to accomplish that was really impressive by KTI.
And I actually... Oh, we're going to fight again.
Oh.
Good point,
Jotun just avoided with his Blink Dagger. He has his force of himself. He's probably going to die. Goodbye to Jotun. And the Morph is currently muted. Can't reach him, but Yoda trying to get away for now. Terrorized. They're waiting for the BKBs to end. They can't. BKBs last for too long. His Bounty Hunter, even with the Ogre Seal Club, cannot get away. Yoda does kill Prodigy have in the backline. And he's still fighting together with the Willow, hoping to turn this fight around. Yoda is just a little bit too strong. They have nothing to stop this Bloodstone healing. The the Lina is dead, and now Fuyao is in trouble himself. If they hit him with a Split Earth, terrorize as well, but Yona's out of mana. They will respect this Doom enough. However, KTI might just hit the kill.
No respect.
This Willow is doing such a good job in these fights.
And now Nyx, it's a support fight, support on support, hey baby! This is what we wanted for. This is the side ticket. The main event is over. It's all about the supports. Oh my god, there's so much lockdown, but there's absolutely no damage, and everyone makes it out alive.
Okay, Garrett. That sounded like me and the Alliance announcer, man. That was a lot of fake hype that just got thrown around, my friend.
No, I know. I love support fights, but again, lots of lockdown, no damage. It's all in good fun.
Dire's middle tower.
I do think the supports, though, in a serious note, are the most important part of these fights. Like, I think the Willow is winning these fights. Yona's doing a great job, mind you, but KTI has been such a key player.
This Willow is crazy. I probably heard him pump fake the Terrorize maybe 5 or 6 times in that fight, which makes the fight so much scarier for RZ Esports to play.
He forced all the BKBs because they kept hearing the Terrorize, and they're like, okay, he's going to send it now, right? Now? No, he's going to wait for the perfect Terrorize, let his Morphling die. Morphling is probably screaming on the microphone, why no use spell, while Yona actually wins thanks to the Willow's patience, honestly.
Yeah, very well done. Hey, I got a quick question for you, by the way, because we all know that when Doom is applied, it actually dispels. Doom is a dispel. Does the Doom AoE dispel as well?
No. I've asked that same question. It doesn't. I checked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make it extremely
if you
strong.
apply it at someone, yes, right? But it's the act of you applying the Doom that dispels.
Yes. Okay.
And it does not dispel you when you do it.
Interesting. But it doesn't dispel enemies either.
Well, when you apply it on them, yes.
So if he were to walk back and forth multiple times and constantly
No, when you apply it on them, as in like when you hit them with a Doom. So if you were to use it normally,
the AoE Doom does not dispel. Is what we're saying.
No, the actual AoE of the Doom does not dispel. No.
Understood.
The dispel is linked to the actual casting of the ability.
Got it.
And because Doom does not suffer any of the effects, the dispel is also taken away when you cast it on yourself.
Understood. Thank you very much for that explanation. Which is why the Force Staff was not dispelled, because sometimes you're mid Force Staff and then you get Dooms, and then you stop moving because Doom dispels. Everyone forgets that.
That is a very, very good point, actually. And that takes a lot of precision, though, because Doom is the longest cast point.
It does, and it's quite obvious he's casting Doom, because he doesn't really have any other spells.
He raises his blade. I wonder what Doom is doing.
Oh, jeez. All right, Aegis number 3. Oh, this is an Axe Blessing for Marb for free. Heck yeah.
Honestly, like we said, it's still pretty good to be able to turn into a strength hero, right? It's not it doesn't nullify the strength hero, but it does make more stronger. So while it's not a core part of your build, if you get it from Roche, still very good.
And it's not bad, because as long as you're not basically morphing into an int hero, you can still play with those stats, right? Those 20% stats, like that's stats for you to shift into, to do more damage, to tank a little bit more, right? So it's still fairly... And, of course, status is just never a bad thing to have.
Yeah. I will say as well, want to hype up the Bounty Hunter's build because I think he's atomizing really well now. The Force Staff choice as well. He saw how good KTI's Force Staff was. He went for it on his own, and he is much more likely to save teammates with Force Staff because low range, but you're melee, so you're always going to be in the middle of the fray anyway. Willow can't, but Bounty Hunter certainly can.
Yeah, and he's doing a lot of good work here. That makes 3 Force Staffs, I believe, by my count, on this team, as there's Lincolns and lots of spells broken, but on the back lines they go. They want to get this Slash. 1 Force Staff's not good enough to get him out of trouble, even if the Nyx Assassin does blink in and try and save his life. The buyback, though, is they're going right back on in, but this fight is all over the place, and they're right now on top of Marb, but Marb's turning and fighting. He's murdered the Doom.
Yeah, but Lina couldn't hit him, so he was free now, but now careful, though, because Lina is nearby. Marb turns into Light Stealer. He has a side resist extra, so he's not going to be stunned for too long. War's Punch, however, not affected by it. Marb, it's going to use the Manta style now. Thinks of killing someone. Here's the Lina with the help of the Scotty. That reduces healing by a lot. Marb still trying to finish off the support as they hex them for Life Stealer. And they're going to get the Sticky's hand. Goodbye to Prodigy hand.
Whoa, Hawk cancel the TP.
They cancel the TP Hall. Why? He wants to stay here and try to fight this, but instead he's just going to lose his life and only get the Aegis in return. That was...
Yes, he's got buyback. He's got buyback. There's 360 gold to Prodigy Hana's buyback. There's 1 bounty rune down bottom. It's not going to be enough. Oh no, Yana's back in the fight as well. Is he level 25? He is. He's 26. Took the Edict Explosion talent. This one, I think, is over, Avo.
Yep. Yeah. I think RZ played their peak really well, but not only did Leshrac come back online, but I feel like they also adapted to their issues very, very effectively. These buybacks will not matter. No.
They will not, unfortunately. No chance, I think.
I also just think KTI played the game of his life here. Like, to me, complete MVP. Mind you, Yona played really well too, but I think KTI played way too well in this World. I'd even consider this hero to be pretty good right now. I think this hero is just kind of meh, and he made it look like it was top tier.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's just very true.
Radiant.
Is the disconnects coming through. Tough game to be a life stealer, to be sure. Normally you get a little bit more early game impact just basically off of armlet, sometimes even armlet deso you're in fighting condition. The one fight that I think he could have been potentially very strong in, just very unfortunately, he flubbed the BKB. It happens, but you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda are things that this team's going to be left asking, unfortunately, as they are eliminated. One best of one shy of getting into the last 2 rounds.
Best of ones are so stressful as well. These mistakes happen, and they're more prone to happening because you know if they happen, they're going to screw up your game. So the pressure is higher, and then these mistakes happen more. It's a vicious cycle. That's why in best of ones, even the best teams will lose against much worse teams than them, just because you know the pressure gets them.
That's going to have to be it for us. Dreamwalker versus Flux has ended. Spoilers. So that means that the bracket should be set for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and check on it in that case and see what we have in store. Only 30 teams signed up. We started around at 32. We finished at the quarterfinals, so we're done for today already, Ava.
Nice. Well, it's very exciting that, to me, the exciting teams that made it through Atomic Esports certainly looks very great, right? But also, Yango Galacticos, I'm really happy to see any Myanmar representation. That's always very hype.
Very good.
And on top of that, Spawn, right? Making sure that Vietnam still has some Dota to them, even if it's just the organization at this point.
Yeah. It's cool to see the hashtag. That is hashtag of hashtag. I guess they went through all of the punctuation marks, so they're back to just hashtag Reaper now. Is that what this is?
No, they're called hashtag esports.
Yes, I know. That was a joke for hashtag.
No. They've only had the SCA has only had hashtag I, hashtag Y, and hashtag Z. As to why they chose these letters, I do not know. Then they had a team called question mark. Then they helped out with a team called exclamation mark. And I'm not making these things up. I was doing the research and I was writing a script for this, and I thought people are going to think I'm screwing with them when I say this. But they're just obsessed with punctuation.
They do. They should do hashtag ampersand, honestly. It's a really good one.
I think that's way too complex.
Come on, hashtag ampersand. That's funny.
No, I understand, but I think that's way too much. I think a lot of people will understand ampersand. I didn't even know what the word was until 2 years ago.
Fair enough.
But there was.
And you're a coder.
Place. Yeah, we went to a like an ink shop, right? And we asked if they had an ampersand. My girlfriend was like, "Hey, do you guys have an ampersand?" And they go, they tell her they thought it was food, so they went, "No, we don't have it here. Try the mamak next door." Like, what? Ampersand, like the and symbol. They go, "Oh, the and symbol." That's what everyone calls it. I think that's what they should be called, actually. The and symbol.
The and symbol. Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for us. We're basically already done here. I don't know. We're back tomorrow with best of threes. We did already take a look at the bracket, but we're going to be broadcasting those. We already have 4 teams into the closed qualifiers, and tomorrow we are going to see who joins. What is it? Drinkwater, Neon Esports, Sky Encore Esports, and Team M11. 2 more teams joining them tomorrow. We start back at the same time here at the same channel here and on YouTube. So make sure you guys tune in at 1 p.m. when we are back with the open qualifiers. Until then, Alvo, any final thoughts or statements, as we won't be back tomorrow?
I won't be back tomorrow.
I don't think. Am I back tomorrow? I don't think I'm back either.
I'm not really sure.
Well,
sure. You know, just watch some SCA Dota. I've been casting SCA OQs for 8 years now. You know, I always think these are the most fun OQs to watch because a lot of the teams here are still competitive. Like, not just is Division 2 and Division 1 SCA competitive, but the OQs are very competitive. And I also think that the vacuum that some of the powerhouses are leaving by the scene, you know, moving to some mobile games, like for example Malaysia and Indonesia, which are kind of moving there, is allowing a lot of other countries, like in this case Mongolia or Myanmar or hopefully Cambodia soon, to shine. So watching these countries rise is very, very fun, and it creates really cool storylines, and open qualifiers is the place to do that. A while ago, Indonesian esports was only known for open qualifier teams. Now Zephyr went to TI. It's a very nice success story, and I'm hoping that other countries can replicate the same.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, and very well stated. So if you want to watch some more open qualifiers, well, why don't you join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. SGT when we kick things off again with the best of threes. It will be Epi and 343 joining us tomorrow, so some great casters and should be some fantastic games. Until then, guys, stay safe, and we'll catch you tomorrow when they see open qualifiers resume. Until then.